Hey everyone, this is Tapan Sharma here, and I'm super excited to share with you a new tutorial about building a common system using Livewire. And as you can see, this is the common system that we'll be building in this tutorial. And this is going to be a flexible common system which can be attached to any model. You just have to define a relationship, and under the hood, it is going to be attached via a polymorphic relationship. So as you can see, this is currently attached to this article model called article1, and we are rendering that over in here. So this is the show page of this article, and we don't have any content. We just have this comment that we are rendering. Okay, so now let's go ahead and demonstrate this. So currently we don't have any comments, and we are displaying the number of comments that a specific model has, and we currently have 0 comments. So now if I go ahead and type a comment, so let's say a new comment, and then if I hit the comment key, then as you can see, this comment is now attached to this model, and we will also implement authorization. So only if we are authorized, then we can go ahead and edit it, or we can delete these. And again, we can reply to this as well. And these pop-ups, as you can see, are all implemented using Alpine.js. So we won't be making any request to the backend to display or hide these. Everything is implemented using Alpine.js. Okay, so now if I go ahead and type a new reply, and then if I click on this reply button, then as you can see, this reply is now attached to this parent comment. And one more interesting thing to note here is under the hood, the component that is responsible for displaying the parent comment and the reply comment are the same. So we'll be reusing the same Livewire component to render both of these. And again, as you can see, we can edit or delete this reply as well. So everything is similar, but we can't really reply to this because nesting these too much can create issues. And yeah, let's go ahead and try to update this so we can again edit or reply to these. So if I try to edit the parent comment, and I'll try to pass in updated as an additional text, and if I click on update, then as you can see, the parent comment was updated, and the same applies for the reply as well. So I'll click on edit, and then I can type a new reply updated, and then if I click on update, then as you can see, that was updated. And again, we can also delete these. So if I click on the delete button, and then if I click on OK, then as you can see, that reply was deleted. So yeah, we'll be building this out, and I believe that you'll learn a lot of stuff along the way. You'll learn how to build this using the .dot stack, and along the way, we will also talk about how we can improve the performance of this by implementing some ego loading strategies, along with how we can replace some interactivities and showing or hiding these elements using JavaScript. So we don't have to use Livewire everywhere. We can use Alpine.js wherever it's needed and necessary. So yeah, this is the project that we'll be building in this tutorial. And if you like the content, then I hope that you'll build this out along with me. Okay, so before we end this intro, I just wanted to mention you one more thing. That is, this tutorial that you're about to learn is actually a part of my course that is hosted in Udemy. So here, as you can see, we will learn Livewire, that is version 3 from scratch, and we'll build out multiple practical projects along the way. So we'll start things off by looking into the basics of Livewire, and then we will build out a really simple students management system, but then we will add additional features in this students management system by building a feature-rich data table with the .dot stack, and then we will build out this reusable common system that you are about to watch on YouTube, and we'll also look at how we can build out multi-step forms with Livewire, and then we will also build out this reusable drag and drop uploader with Livewire and Alpine.js, and we will also look at how we can implement infinite scrolling with Livewire. And finally, we will look at how we can build out real-time applications using Laravel, Livewire, and Reverb. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we'll be covering in this course. And if you want to learn Livewire from scratch in a practical way, then I suggest you to enroll in this course. So yeah, enough of the promo. Let's now go ahead and start building this component. Okay, so in this video, we'll just go ahead and install a fresh Laravel project and basically configure our project for the common system. So yeah, I have opened up the terminal and I'm currently on my desktop, and I'm going to be using the Laravel installer to install a fresh Laravel project. So yeah, let's go ahead and install a fresh Laravel project, and I'm going to name this project as Livewire Comments System. So yeah, let's go ahead and hit enter. And for the starter kit, we'll be making use of Laravel Breeze because it already configures a lot of stuff for us, like installing the tailwind and the design related stuff. It has some components that we can make use of. So yeah, for that reason, I'll be using the Laravel Breeze starter kit. Let's hit enter. And for the stack, we'll be making use of Blade with Alpine. We don't need any other fancy stuff like the Volt class API or functional API. We'll be making use of the simple Livewire API. So yeah, let's go ahead and choose the Blade with Alpine, and we will face some issues with the Alpine package that comes installed with this Blade with Alpine stack. But yeah, we'll be making some changes as per our needs. So yeah, let's hit choose that stack, and I don't need the dark mode support, and the testing framework doesn't really matter, but still I'm going to choose best, and I would like to initialize a Git repository. So yeah, let's go ahead and hit enter. And while this is installing, let's also go ahead and look into our database. So I have opened up the phpMyAdmin, and this is my default database client that I use to look into the database. And here I have defined this Livewire Common System database, which currently has some data, but yeah, that doesn't matter because I was testing things out. And while we start a new project, I'll just go ahead and migrate fresh this database. So yeah, this is the database that we'll be using. And okay, so the database that we'll be using here is the MySQL. So let's choose that, and this is going to install and configure Laravel Breeze. Okay, so the project has been installed. Let's cd into the Livewire Commons System project, and let's open that in our code editor. And here, let's go ahead and open up our env because we need to make some changes here. The first change is going to be about the database. So let's go ahead and update that with the proper database name. The password in my case is root. So I'll just pass that in, and everything else looks good. So let's save that, and let's go ahead and look into our project. Let's see whether everything is working fine or not. I'll just open up a new tab and paste that in here. And okay, we have the login and registration functionality. So yeah, everything looks good. And in the next part, we'll be looking at defining two models called the articles and episodes, which we will be using to assign the comments to. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and define two models, and the name of these models are episode and article, and the name doesn't really matter in this case, but for the demonstration purposes, we'll be defining two models, and in those models, we'll be attaching the comments polymorphic relationship, and later we'll be grabbing the comments for those specific models. So yeah, let's go ahead and define these models, and you'll understand this implementation once we go ahead and further work on this. So yeah, let's define these models, and I will add in more features in the upcoming videos. And as I mentioned earlier, the first one is going to be the article model. So let's go ahead and define that, and I'll also create the migration file for this model. So let's go ahead and hit enter, and let's also define the episode model while we are here, episode, and let's also define the migration file, and let's open up these files. Okay, let's go ahead and now work on the migration file, and these are not going to include any real world data, but for the demonstration purposes, I'll just go ahead and define two fields. One is going to be the title column, and the other one is going to be the slug, just to access this record. So yeah, the type here is going to be string, and let's go ahead and pass in the slug value. And I also want to make this unique. So yeah, let's go ahead and pass that. And I'll just go ahead and copy this and do the same for the article model. Okay, let's go ahead and paste that here. And let's now navigate to our episode model and define the fillable property. This doesn't really matter, and this is not necessarily needed, but still I wanted to do it because we should always follow our workflow. So yeah, let's go ahead and define the fillable property, and I'll just go ahead and copy that and paste that in the article model as well. And now let's go ahead and define two blade files where we will be displaying the model related data, and along with that we'll also display the comments data. So yeah, let's go ahead and define two folders. Inside that we'll define two views for showing the records. So on our resources views, let's define the articles folder, and inside that I'll just define this show.blade.php, and let's also go ahead and define the episodes folder, and inside that I'll go ahead and define the show.blade.php. Okay, so for the design part, I'll just go ahead and copy this dashboard page and make the necessary changes. So let's just paste that, and let's go ahead and display the article title in here. This doesn't really matter much, but still this indicates that we are on the right page. And here I'll just go ahead and pass in the comments label, and later we'll be displaying the comments related data here. Okay, let's save that, and I'll just copy this again and paste that in our show.blade. In this case, it's gonna be episode title, and we'll display the comments data here. Okay, so let's also go ahead and define the controllers because we need a way to render these. So yeah, let's go ahead and define the controller called the article controller, and let's also define the episode controller. And okay, let's navigate to these files, and let's also navigate to our web.php route, and here define two routes. One is going to be the article page. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Articles, and we'll be passing in the article slug in here. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And the reason why we are passing in the slug in here is because we want to access the record by the slug. So by default, Laravel will try to look into the database by querying the article's ID, but we want to change that behavior, and instead of ID, we want to look for this slug from the database, and on that basis, the record will be grabbed from the database. Okay, so the controller responsible for this is going to be the article controller, and I'm going to define this as an invocable controller because we are not going to display anything else for this project. And let's go ahead and copy this route and update that for our episode. So yeah, let's go ahead and make the necessary change. Episode slug, the controller is going to be episode controller, the name is going to be episodes.show. Okay, so let's go ahead and import this episode controller, and let's also get rid of these comments because these are not really necessary. And okay, let's go ahead and define these invocable methods in here. So invoke, and since we are passing in the article in our route, so we can use root model binding to grab the model, and which will be injected in here. So since we are on our article controller, so we can inject our article model here, and let's also import the article model, and let's return the view, and that is the articles.show, and we also need to pass in the article model. Okay, let's save that, and let's navigate to our episode controller and define the same. Okay, let's define the invocable method, and let's return the view, and let's also inject our episode model in here. Let's import the episode model, and let's pass in the record. Okay, let's save that, and now let's go ahead and give this a try. Our workflow looks good on our route. we have defined the route, which is gonna navigate to the article controller, which in turn is going to return the show.blade, which is rendering this data. But we have not migrated our database, and we don't have any data in our database yet. So yeah, let's go ahead and first migrate fresh the data, because I already have some data in my database. So I'll just go ahead and migrate fresh, and this is gonna migrate the articles and the episodes table as well. And let's now go ahead and insert some data into our database. So I'll just reload, and let's navigate to the articles table and insert some data. So the title is going to be some title, doesn't really matter. The slug here is going to be for consistency. I'm going to define this as article 1, and these are not really necessary. So yeah, let's go ahead and hit enter. And for the episodes as well, let's go ahead and insert one data. The title is going to be some title, and the slug is going to be episode 1. Let's hit that go button, and this is going to be inserted. Okay, so let's now go ahead and register a new user and then check out our workflow. So okay, let's open up our project. I have this Livewire comment system opened up in my browser, and let's go ahead and register a new user. So I'll just define this admin user with the email as admin@admin.com. The password is going to be password. Let's click on register, and yeah, I just want to save that. And let's now navigate to the episodes route with the slug of episode 1. And now we have the title and the comments related data. But yeah, we need to go ahead and run the npm run dev command to compile our assets. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and let's reload. Okay, this still does not work. What could be the issue in here? Let's go ahead and undo some stuff that we did in here and pass in the comments data, and let's navigate to the articles page, CLES article 1. Okay, that looks good. So I'll just copy this and paste that in here. Okay, so now our workflow looks good. We defined two models, that is the article and the episode model. And the reason for defining these models is to assign our comments polymorphic relationship to these models, so that later we can grab the comments specific to these models. And whenever you are trying to implement the comments component in any of your projects, then you might face an issue about assigning these comments data to any specific model. So yeah, that's the reason I wanted to properly showcase you the usage of the comments related data and how to set up the polymorphic relationship. So yeah, that's it for this video, and in the next part we'll be looking at installing Livewire, and we'll go ahead and define the comments Livewire component. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's now go ahead and install Laravel Livewire, and we'll be configuring that accordingly. And we'll also define the comments component that will be used as a foundation for upcoming videos, and we will configure that accordingly as we move along the course. So let's start by installing Laravel Livewire, and the command to install it is composer require livewire. Let's go ahead and hit enter. And while this is installing, I also want to talk about some configuration that comes installed when we set up our Laravel application. So if we navigate to our app.js, then in here, as you can see, we have this Alpine configured already. And since we have installed Livewire, so Alpine already comes installed with Livewire. So yeah, we have to remove this, because if we don't remove it, then we will have two instances of Alpine.js running. So yeah, let's go ahead and remove that, and we can even go ahead and remove that from our package.json. We have this Alpine.js package installed. So let's go ahead and remove that, and let's check out our terminal. Okay, Livewire has been installed, and now let's go ahead and define a new Livewire component called comments. So let's define that artisan Livewire make, and the name of the component here is going to be comments. And let's navigate to these files. And I'll just go ahead and paste the design for this comments.blade, and you can go ahead and copy that and use it accordingly because it's a huge file and I don't want to type that from scratch. So I'll just remove that and go ahead and paste the design. Okay, so I'll just paste the design here, and this is a really simple design for now. We will be making the necessary changes as per our needs. And talking about the design, we have this main header, which shows the total number of comments a certain post or a certain model has. And here starts the comment body. And this is the name of the user that made the comment, the date of the comment made, and this is the comment body. And we have three buttons, that is the reply, the edit, and the delete button. So I'll just go ahead and fold this to properly read other code. Here we have this form, which I have commented out for now, but yeah, let's go ahead and uncomment that and let's look into the design. And we have the replies here, which has the comment body, and again the replies also have edit and delete buttons. And we have the main comment form where the user can go ahead and make a comment. Okay, so let's save that. And we have a main root component called section. So yeah, Livewire expects a root component, and we have only one component, that is the section tag. So yeah, that looks good. And let's now go ahead and render this comments component in our show.blade files for the articles and episodes. So here I'll just go ahead and pass in the comments component, Livewire comments, and let's go ahead and copy that. And I'll just go ahead and pass that for the episodes as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste that in. And now we have this design, which is something that we just pasted. And yeah, we will be making some changes to this based on our needs. And yeah, this is the reply form with reply and cancel. And yeah, this looks good. So in the next part, we'll start working on this comment model. We'll start by defining the comment model, and we'll also set up the relationships necessary for attaching comments to any specific model. So yeah, we'll be looking into that in the next video. Okay, let's go ahead and define the comment model, and we'll also go ahead and set up the polymorphic relationship in our comment model, and later we can attach the comment model to other models. So yeah, let's define the comment model first, and I'm gonna name that model as comment. So artisan make model comment. Let's also define the migration file for this, and I'll just remove every file, open file, from my editor. And let's now go ahead and open up the comment model and the migration file. So the first thing that we want to store here is the user ID to track the owner that made the comment. So let's go ahead and pass that user ID, and we can pass in the foreign ID for this. Foreign ID is gonna be user ID and constrained to the user model. And we can even pass in the cascade on delete, which would delete the specific comments made by this specific user whenever the user is deleted from the database. And the next column that we want to store here is the parent ID, and that ID is going to be used to identify whether a certain comment is a root comment or a reply. So if it has a parent ID, it means that it is a reply to a certain comment. And if it doesn't have a parent ID, then it indicates that it is the root comment made on a certain post. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that. Table for an ID. The name of the column is going to be parent ID. And this is going to be constrained to the comments model. And we also want to cascade on delete. And the reason for passing the comments table in this case is since on our user ID, by default, Laravel will assume that since we have a user ID, it means that the table is going to be users. So the convention is followed. But in this case, since we have a parent ID as our column name, but we don't have a parents table. So for that reason, we have to pass in the table name in this case. So yeah, that's the reason. And we can even go ahead and pass in the table name in this case as well. But even if you don't pass it, it's not going to cause any issues. So yeah, that's the reason we have to pass in the comments table in this case. Okay, that's done. Let's now go ahead and define the body of our comment. And we also need to define the polymorphic relationship in this migration file itself, that is in this comment model itself. And the way to define that is by passing in table morphs, and the name of the relationship here is going to be comment table. Okay, let's save that. And one more thing that I want to define in here is the soft deletes column, because whenever we delete a certain comment, then we won't be actually deleting that, but soft deleting it, which is going to set the deleted at column in the database, and it won't be rendered in our front end. So yeah, by default, it's going to be trashed whenever the comment is deleted. So yeah, these are the things that I want to store in our comments model. And now we have this polymorphic relationship, which can be assigned to other models. And this migration file is going to store the comments from different types of models, since we have defined this as a polymorphic relationship. And to associate our models, that is, let's say episode and articles, to this comment model, we need to go ahead and define the relationship on those models as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that as well. On our episode model, let's go ahead and define the relationship. And as you can see in here, our GitHub Copilot is suggesting us this relationship. So the name here is going to be comments, and one episode can have many comments. So just like has many, for polymorphic relationship, we can pass in morph many. And the first argument here is the model that we want to associate this to. Just like has many, let's say we have a user and a post relationship. Then on our user model, we would define this post relationship, and a user has many posts. So just like that, for the comments, we can pass in this morph many, the comment model, and the name of the relationship, which is commentable, that we have defined here. Okay, so let's save that, and I'll just go ahead and copy this and define this on our article model as well, since we want to associate comments to this article model as well. So I'll just go ahead and paste that, and let's go ahead and test this out. We have defined the relationship, we have set up our comment model, but yeah, we need to test this out. So I'll just go ahead and first migrate the files that we just created, that is the comments table. So I'll just go ahead and migrate that, and let's now go ahead and insert some data into our database. So I'll just open up our phpMyAdmin, and let's go ahead and insert some data. So on the comments table, okay, let's reload, and let's go ahead and insert some data here. So the user ID is 1. We have that user already registered, and the parent ID here is going to be null because this is a root comment, and I think we have to make that as nullable. We have not done that. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and let's just roll back our migration and then make this parent ID as nullable. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. This is going to be nullable because there are some cases where we won't be passing in the parent ID, like if the comment is a root comment, then in that case, the parent ID won't be available. So yeah, for that reason, we need to make this as nullable. Let's go ahead and roll back. So I'll just pass in PAMR, which stands for PHP Artisan Migrate Rollback, and this is going to roll back the last migration that we just did. And let's go ahead and run the migration again. Okay, let's go ahead and now insert the data. I'll just reload it once, and the parent ID is going to be null in here. Let's go ahead and pass in some comment body, and the commentable type is going to be, we will be assigning this comment to our app models episode. So I'll just go ahead and pass that. And the commentable ID is 1 because we have an episode of ID 1 and we don't have to pass any of these. So I'll just click go and okay, insert into comments. Incorrect integer value for column user ID at row 1. Okay, I forgot to pass that. So let's go ahead and choose the user ID 1 and let's click on enter. And now we have a data that is associated to this episode model and the ID is 1 and we have this comment. So let's go ahead and test this out. And on our web.php file, let's go ahead and dd this record. So on the welcome, what I will do is I'll just go ahead and grab the comments from the episode model. I'll just find the ID 1 and then grab the comments. And let's also import the episode model and let's go ahead and dd the comments. Okay, so let's go ahead and test this out now. We are basically grabbing the first episode and then using this comments relationship to grab all the comments that this specific model has and then dding the comments. So let's go ahead and test this out. Let's open up our Livewire comment system. Let's navigate to the index page. And now we have one item in our array, which is the app model comment. And if we go ahead and look into it, then we have the specific data. That is the sum comment body. The commentable type is app models episode. The commentable ID is 1. So yeah, I hope that you get an idea now about how polymorphic relationship work. And if you had a comment for the article model, then the commentable type would be app models article and the ID would be the ID of the specific article record. And yeah, everything else would be filled accordingly based on the user ID, the parent ID, and these columns would also be filled. So yeah, our functionality is now working. We have finally set up our comments relationship, which can be now attached to the episode and article models. And in the next part, we'll start by displaying the comments data on our Livewire component. So yeah, that's also going to be an interesting one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and display the parent comments in our Livewire components. But before doing that, there are a few things that we need to configure. But first, we'll start by removing this DD code that we defined in the previous video. That was just for testing things out. So yeah, let's go ahead and remove this. And we don't need that import as well. And now let's navigate to our comment model. And here, since we want to only display the parent comments, so yeah, let's define a new scope that is gonna only return the parent comments. So yeah, let's define that scope, and the name of the scope here is gonna be parent, and this is gonna receive the builder query. And let's go ahead and import the builder from Illuminate Database Eloquent Builder. And if you haven't worked with scopes in Laravel before, then the convention for defining a new scope is by passing in the scope keyword followed by the name of the scope. In this case, the scope name is parent, and this is going to receive this query, which we will be modifying based on our needs. And since we only want to return the parent comments, so here what we can do is we can return the query where the parent ID is null. So as we have discussed earlier, only the root comments are not going to have a parent ID. So yeah, this is going to return the comments which are the parent comments. So here, let's go ahead and pass that in. And let's also go ahead and define the return type to this. And this is going to return the builder. So yeah, let's go ahead and save that. And while we are here, let's also go ahead and define the user relationship, since we have defined the user ID on our comment model. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. User belongs to the user class. So yeah, let's save that, and let's also navigate to our user model, and here I'll define this avatar method, which is gonna return a simple avatar because we have not defined the avatar related stuff in our project. So yeah, just as a placeholder, we'll be using the gravatar URL, which is gonna either pass in the user's avatar based on the email, or it will pass in the initials of the user. Like let's say we have John Doe, then the JD is going to be displayed in place of the avatar. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and paste in the link for this, and then we will be displaying this in our comment Livewire component. Okay, so I'll just paste that in, and this will be grabbing the avatar from this gravatar.com URL, and we will be encrypting the email by passing that inside this MD5 hasher. So yeah, let's save that, and let's now go ahead and display the parent comments in our Livewire component. So yeah, let's navigate to our comments Livewire component, and here we are just passing in this livewire.comments blade, but we are not passing in any comments related data, which we can loop over to display them in our blade file. But before doing that, what we also need to do is we need to grab the model that we want to display the comments for. And while we are rendering our comment in the episode or articles page, we can pass in the model from there, and we can grab that model on our comments Livewire component, and based on the model, we can go ahead and grab the comments related data. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up the articles show blade, and here, since we have this article model, we can go ahead and pass that in by naming the parameter as model, and the model that we want to pass here is the article model. And let's also open up the episodes show page, and here we want to pass in the article as the model. And now on our comments Livewire component, we can go ahead and receive that as a public property. The name is going to be model, and we can't really type in this because sometimes we receive the model as the article, and sometimes it can be of type episode. But yeah, we can give this a generic type, which is a type of model, because every model that we define in our project extends this base model, which we can import from the Illuminate database Eloquent model. So yeah, that's now received, and now whenever we want to render the comments or display the comments in our Livewire component, we can grab all the comments that this specific model has, and then we can display that in our Livewire component. That is the comments Livewire component. So let's go ahead and now query the comments related data from this model. We now have the model that is either article or episode based on the page that is being rendered. And from there, we want to grab the comments related data, and we won't be actually executing that just yet. That is, we won't be grabbing the data just yet. We are just going to pass in as a query builder by passing this method. And since we want to grab only the parent comments, that is the comments that do not have a parent ID, so that's the reason we are defining this as a query builder instead of actually executing that. So yeah, since we want to grab the parent comments, and we also want to grab the latest records, sort by the created ad in descending order, and finally we want to get the records. Okay, so we have these comments related data, which we can now go ahead and render in our comments Livewire component. So yeah, let's go ahead and navigate to this component, and here we have this some name, the date, the comment body, and the reply, edit, and delete buttons, along with the reply form. And now what we can do is Let's go ahead and loop over the comments and display them here. But first, I just want to go ahead and comment this reply form because this is not actually necessary right now. So yeah, let's now go ahead and loop over these. So I'll just pass in the for each directive and then for each comments as comment. Let's go ahead and end the for each at the end of this div. And let's now go ahead and display the comment related data. So here we have this sum name, which is actually the name of the user. So yeah, we can grab the comment and then we can use the user relationship that we just defined in this video itself. And for the image, let's go ahead and pass in the comment user's avatar, which is gonna give us the appropriate avatar for this specific user. And the alt is gonna be comment user name. And the date here is gonna be the date of the comment. That is the created at date. So yeah, let's go ahead and display that as well. Comment created at, but the format of the created at is not so good. So yeah, we need to go ahead and pass in this diff for humans method, which is provided by Carbon. And this is going to make our date a bit more readable. So yeah, let's go ahead and pass that in. And the comment body, we already have that. So let's go ahead and display the comment body as well. And we have these reply, edit, and delete sections, which we'll be working on in the upcoming videos. But for now, we have a simple comments component, which is displaying the comments related data. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try now. I'll just navigate back and reload. And now we have this comment body that is coming from, okay, I think we are on the articles page. And if we go ahead and look into our show.blade, okay, we are passing in this Livewire comments. The model is article, but I think, and on our show as well, we are passing in the article. Okay, I made one mistake in here. On our articles as well, I have article, and on our episodes as well, I have article. So I'll just go ahead and fix that up. And if we reload, then we have the comment body, we have the username and the date. So I think this is not working. So let's go ahead and debug this out. So on our comments.blade, we are grabbing all the comments of this model and using the comments relationship and grabbing only the parent comments, sorting them by latest and grabbing the records. And then let's go ahead and let's go ahead and DD this and let's see what we get in here. Okay, let's reload. Okay, we don't have any data for this. Let's go ahead and check out our episodes route, and the slug is episode 1. Okay, we have one item for this, so let's go ahead and reload this one. The previous one did not work because we did not have any comments for that specific model. Okay, let's reload and call to a member function diff for humans on null. So what could be the issue? Okay, we don't have the created at date on our database because we manually inserted that data. So yeah, let's go ahead and fix that as well. I'll just manually insert that data as well. Okay, I'll just go ahead and edit this one. So it's null in here. So I'll just go ahead and pass that date and update that. And there could be some issues about the formatting of the date because my local server and the UTC time zone could be different. So that's the reason this is showing as 5 hours from now. But when we actually start commenting in a real world project, then this issue won't exist. So yeah, now we have this data, and that is coming from the database. We have the admin data. The created at date has been shown properly. The comment body has been rendered, and this is the placeholder that is being rendered on every comment. So yeah, this could be ignored for now, and we have the reply, edit, and delete buttons. So yeah, this looks good, but on this video, I also want to go ahead and define a dedicated comment component, which is going to be responsible for displaying this data, because currently our comments component is a bit cluttered. So yeah, let's go ahead and clean that up and define a dedicated component, which is going to be responsible for just displaying this comment body along with the reply, edit, and delete buttons. So yeah, let's define that Livewire component, and I'm going to name that as comment, because comments is responsible for displaying multiple comments, and the comment component is responsible for displaying a single Livewire component. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that Livewire make comment, and let's navigate to these, and let's go ahead and grab the comment body that we have. So I'll just cut this part and paste that here. We currently don't have this comment model in here, so this is going to throw an error, but yeah, let's go ahead and make the necessary changes in here. So on our comments.blade, for each comments as comment, let's go ahead and render our Livewire component, which is the comment component, and let's also go ahead and pass in the comment model, and also make sure to pass in the key, because whenever we are nesting Livewire components, the key is a really important parameter that you need to pass, and if you don't pass it, then there would be weird issues that you can face. So yeah, the key is a really important parameter here. Whenever you are nesting or whenever there's a for each loop, just go ahead and pass in the key. That's the rule that I follow. So yeah, now we are rendering this comment component, and we are passing in this comment model, which is the current iteration of this comment. And now let's go ahead and work on our comment model, and we receive that comment which is named as comment. We can name that as comment because we are referencing that as comment in our blade file as well. And the type here is of type comment, which we can't name it because the Livewire component is also comment and the model is also comment. So yeah, there will be conflicts. So what we can do here is we can alias this as comment model. And now let's go ahead and import that from app models comment as comment model. And now since we are receiving that in here, this is going to be publicly available in our blade file. So yeah, this looks good. Let's go ahead and now reload, and everything should work as usual. Okay, so I'm currently reloading, as you can see in here. So yeah, this looks good, and we will be further improving this and working on other functionalities. So yeah, in the next part, we'll be listing the replies, which is also an important feature of this comments component. So yeah, we'll be working on that in the next video. Okay, let's go ahead and work on displaying the replies data in this comment component. And before doing that, we need to configure a few things, like setting up the replies relationship and making some changes on our UI accordingly to display the replies related data. But first, yeah, let's go ahead and define the replies relationship, which we will be doing in the comment model itself. So yeah, let's go ahead and open up the comment model, and let's also open up our migration file, that is the create comments table migration file. And here we have this parent ID, which indicates that if the parent ID is set, then it means that this is a reply to a certain comment. And if the parent ID is not set, then it indicates that it is a root comment for a certain post or a certain model. So yeah, depending on this parent ID, we will be identifying whether a certain comment is a reply or an actual comment. So I will be defining the relationship based on this parent ID, and a reply is also a comment, basically a comment. And based on this relationship, we will be grabbing the replies. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that relationship in our comment model. And I'm going to name this as replies. And a comment can have many replies. So yeah, these are going to be linked by a has many relationship. And yeah, let's return this has many. And since a reply is also a comment, so yeah, the model that we will be referencing here is going to be a comment model itself, and the foreign ID that distinguishes between a comment and a reply is the parent ID. So I will go ahead and pass that. And now let's go ahead and insert some replies into our database because we don't have any replies currently. And yeah, to also test things out, we need to go ahead and insert some data. So let's open up our phpMyAdmin and let's insert some data. So I'll just go ahead and copy this row because we will be attaching a reply to this model's episode itself. That is the episode ID 1, and here we'll make some changes based on our needs. So I'll just copy this, and this is gonna be a reply. The body is gonna be a reply. The user ID is gonna be 1 because we don't have any users for now. The parent ID is gonna be 1 because this is a reply and this is a reply for this comment. So we need to set that up accordingly. And the commentable type here is app models episode. So this reply is basically a part of this episode model, which has an ID of 1. And here the created at doesn't need to be updated. So we can keep it like that. And let's click on go. And now we have a reply to this comment and everything else is almost the same. So let's go ahead and debug this out in our code editor. So I'll just open up the web.php and here I'll try to grab the episode. And okay, let's go ahead and grab the episode, first episode, and I'll just remove this latest because that is not actually needed. And let's go ahead and grab the comments, and we can do that by calling episode comments. And yeah, let's go ahead and DD that. It's not going to work just yet because we have not loaded the replies yet. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the first comment from here because we only have one comment. And let's go ahead and grab the replies of this comment. Okay, let's go ahead and fix this spelling episode and let's go ahead and test this out. So let's open up the homepage of our project and let's look into the data. So yeah, we have one record, and if you go ahead and look into it, then as you can see, this is a type of app models comment, and we should get a reply in this query. Okay, so the body here is a reply. The ID is 2, user ID is 1. So yeah, this looks good, and we will be displaying this data in the comment component now. So let's get rid of this code because it's not necessary now. Okay, so let's go ahead and now navigate to our comment blade file. That is the Livewire components blade file, which is inside the resources views Livewire namespace. And here we have this dummy form for the replies. And here we can get rid of this because we don't actually need this. This was just used to demonstrate the design of the reply. And here we can get rid of this whole block of code because we won't be rendering the replies in here, but instead what we will be doing is we will be using the concept of recursion to display the replies related data in the comment component itself. And yeah, we can use that because a reply is basically a comment, and just like we are displaying this comment related data, we can go ahead and loop over the replies for a specific comment and again use this comment Livewire component to display the replies. So yeah, let's navigate to our comment blade file, which is inside the resources views Livewire namespace. And here we have this form again, which is a reply form, which we can get rid of for now because we will be defining this later. So let's remove that. And below this article, what we can now do is, since we have already defined this replies relationship for a certain comment, we can now go ahead and reference this replies relationship and render the replies. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just go ahead and loop over the replies for each comment. So for each comment, replies as reply, and since a reply is basically a comment, we can now go ahead and render this reply inside the Livewire comment component and then pass in the model or the comment model, which is actually going to be the reply that we are looping over. Okay, so we are using the concept of recursion to loop over the comments replies, and then again we are rendering the Livewire component here. And I mentioned this in the previous videos as well. Whenever you see a for each loop in any of your front-end frameworks, this could apply in any of the front-end frameworks like Vue.js or React or Svelte, and even for a Livewire, that is to pass a key whenever you are looping over any data. So let's go ahead and pass the key in here, and the key in this case is going to be the replies ID, because a key should be unique, so we should pass in a unique value as a key. And now if we go ahead and save that, and if we reload, then we should see all the replies that this specific comment has. In this case, we only have one comment and one reply, so we should see that comment and the reply that this comment has. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try now. I'll just go ahead and reload, and here we have the comment body and the reply. But this doesn't look like a reply because the design is not actually applied properly. So let's go ahead and fix the design of this, and we'll just provide some extra margin to the left so that we can indicate that it is a reply. So yeah, let's go ahead and here to apply the margin to the left, what we can do is we can actually wrap this inside a div and then pass in some classes to this. So I'll just paste that for each loop in here and pass in some tailwind classes to this. That is the margin left of 8. Let's pass in a margin left of 8, and let's also pass a margin top of 6. Let's save that, and if we reload, then as you can see, there's some margin applied to the top and at the left, which now visually indicates us that this is a reply. And one more thing that I mentioned in the introduction video is only one level of reply is possible. That is, we can only reply on the root comment, but we can't really reply on a reply, which would actually create the n+1 query issues, and this would easily go out of hand if we don't apply some preventive measures here. So let's go ahead and disable this reply button for now on the front end side, and later we'll be applying the checks on the backend as well. And since a reply has a parent ID, so yeah, we can easily distinguish between a comment and a reply by checking whether the parent ID is set or not. And for now, we will just go ahead and disable this on the front end. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So we have the replies in here, the reply, edit, and delete section. And we have this reply button here. And yeah, let's go ahead and wrap this inside an if statement. And if this comment doesn't have a parent ID, then only in that case we want to enable replying. So yeah, we can go ahead and pass in this negation check, and if it doesn't have a parent ID, then it indicates that this is a parent comment, and if it has a parent ID, then it means that it is a reply. So let's go ahead and save that, and now we should not see the reply button on a reply. So if we reload, then as you can see, we can only edit and delete the reply, but we can go ahead and reply, edit, and delete the main comment. So yeah, this looks good. We have finally implemented displaying the replies related data, and let's go ahead and give this proper testing by inserting some more data. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and open up the phpMyAdmin, and again copy this row and pass in some additional data like another reply. The user ID is admin, the parent ID is this comment itself, and everything else looks good. Okay, let's click on go and let's go ahead and give this a try. Okay, let's reload, and now we have this reply and this reply, which means that this functionality is working fine. Okay, so in the next video, we'll be working on actually making a comment. That is, we'll be implementing this functionality where the user can go ahead and make a comment. So yeah, we'll be working on that in the next video. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement this comment functionality where a user can go ahead and type in some comment, and if they click on this comment button or if they click on enter, then they should be able to make that comment, and technically that should refresh our Livewire component, and that comment should be rendered in here. And yeah, the workflow here is going to be we will be wire modeling this to a certain property, and then when the user clicks on submit, then we will store that data into the database, which is gonna re-render our Livewire component, and that comment would be displayed in here. So yeah, let's go ahead and work on it. But I also want to improve this text area's design because it doesn't look so good right now. So yeah, let's navigate to our Visual Studio Code and open up the comments Livewire blade file, because in that blade file we are rendering the comment. That is, the main comment form is being rendered in here, and here we have applied some styles to this, and I want to go ahead and override and modify the style. So I'll just go ahead and remove these classes, and let's also remove this px4, that is padding on the horizontal axis. Let's go ahead and remove that, and here I'll just go ahead and pass in some extra classes to be applied to this text area. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and paste those classes in here. And okay, there are some repeated class applied, but yeah, let's save that. And if we now go ahead and give this a try, then as you can see, the focus related styles are being applied. And yeah, now let's go ahead and remove the repeated classes from here. We have this border gray of 300. And okay, this is showing the error because we have this error state as well. We are passing in this error state, and inside this we have this form.body, which indicates that we will be defining a dedicated form object to store the comment into the database. So yeah, don't worry about that. We'll be looking into this later. And yeah, the validation related classes are also applied here. So yeah, I just went ahead and pasted this code because I didn't want it to type that from scratch. And yeah, now the design looks good. And when the user clicks on comment, then that comment should be stored in the database. So yeah, let's go ahead and work on this. In our comments Livewire component, let's navigate to that, and here let's define a dedicated form object which is going to be responsible for storing that comment into the database along with the validation and other stuff. So yeah, let's define that Livewire form object, and the name here is going to be, okay, the command to that is going to be Livewire form, and let's go ahead and give this a name of comment form. Let's hit enter and let's navigate to this file, and here for this case we are only going to store the body of the comment because we don't have anything else right now to store. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that property public, and the name of the property is going to be body. And yeah, let's also go ahead and apply the validations here. We'll just use the attribute of PHP to implement the validation, and we can pass in the required validation in this case. And yeah, you can go ahead and modify this based on your needs, but for now I'll just go ahead and pass in this required validation. Let's go ahead and define a new method in here that says store comment, and we will also receive the model that we want to store the comment for, and we can do that by passing that as a parameter. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that. And we can't really type in this again because the model could be of any type. In this case, it could be of type episode or article. So we can give it a generic type of model, which is the eliminate database eloquent model. And let's go ahead and give this a name of model. And when the user clicks on the submit button, then we'll just go ahead and use the model's comments relationship to define a new comment. And in this case, we can go ahead and pass in the body of the comment, which is this body, and the user ID is the authenticated user's ID. So yeah, this looks good. And now let's also go ahead and reset this body's state because we have successfully made the comment at this point, and we need to go ahead and reset the body, and we can do that by using the reset method. And we can even go ahead and reset multiple properties by passing in an array, but we only want to reset the body in this case. So I'll just go ahead and pass in the body to this. And now when we make that comment, then finally this is going to reset the body of the form. Okay, let's go ahead and now import this comment form in our comments Livewire component. And yeah, we can do that by calling this public comment form, and let's define the name as form. Let's go ahead and import this comment form object, and this is going to be publicly available in this comments blade file. And yeah, let's also go ahead and wire model our text area. We haven't done that. So wire model is going to be form dot body because the name of our form object is form. And yeah, I also hope that this form dot body now makes sense to you. And there's one more thing that we need to display here, that is the validation message that needs to be displayed below this text area. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and paste that code as well. Okay, so I'll just paste that code, and if there's an error related to this form.body property, then we will be displaying that in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a try now. I think our workflow looks good, but the main thing that we forgot here was the wire submit directive. And when we click on that submit button, then we need to go ahead and make that comment. So let's go ahead and define that method, and I'll just go ahead and name this as post comment. And when the user clicks on the submit button, then we'll just go ahead and reference the form and then call the store comment method. And we also need to pass in this model that we have in here, and it is also named as model. So yeah, the store comment method expects this parameter, so we need to go ahead and pass that. And yeah, this flow now looks good. Let's go ahead and save our comments.blade, but yeah, let's go ahead and pass that post comment method that we have defined in here. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a try, but first we will go ahead and test out the validation, and then we will test out the comment flow. But I think we have to go ahead and define the fillable property as well on our comment model. We don't have that yet, so let's go ahead and do that. Detected fillable is gonna be body and user ID. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a try. I think this will work, and if there are any issues, then we will go ahead and fix them accordingly. Okay, let's go ahead and reload, and if I click on comment, okay, we have this HTML5 validation kicking in, but yeah, let's go ahead and remove that for now. And let's go ahead and look into the validation flow, whether it's working or not. So yeah, for now, I'll just go ahead and remove this required thing from here. And let's see whether we get that validation message from Laravel and Livewire. If I click on comment, Okay, integrity constraint violation, column body cannot be null. Okay, we did not actually call the validate method. Yeah, we made that mistake. So here, okay, on the store comment itself, we can go ahead and call this validate because we have defined the properties in this object itself. And if we now reload and click on comment, now we have a beautiful error message that says the body field is required. And we can even go ahead and override this message by passing in the message in here. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Message is gonna be please enter a comment. And I actually forgot the syntax of this. I think it should be something like this. Okay, let's go ahead and give this a try. If I click on comment, okay, the message please enter a comment field is required. Okay, I think this should be like this here. Let's save that and let's go ahead and reload. Okay, now this looks good and our validation is working fine. If I go ahead and type in some comment example, click on comment, and now we have the comment rendered in here and the text field is also reset and everything is working fine. So if I reload, then as you can see, this value is being rendered from the database. So yeah, this workflow is working fine. And in the next part, we'll be looking at toggling this reply form. So whenever the user clicks on this reply button, then we will show a text form where the user can go ahead and type in the reply. So yeah, that's also going to be an interesting one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement the functionality to toggle this reply form, and later we'll go ahead and implement storing the reply into the database. But first, yeah, we need to start somewhere, and here in this video, we'll go ahead and implement the functionality to toggle the reply form. So whenever the user clicks on this reply button, then we will show a reply form where the user can go ahead and type in the reply and make a reply. So yeah, we'll be making use of Alpine.js to hide or show the reply form, which is going to be efficient in our case because that won't make any request to the backend, and yeah, that would be a efficient solution. So yeah, let's go ahead and define this functionality using Alpine.js, and let's open up our VS Code. And here we have the comment body, we have these reply, edit, and delete buttons, and below this article tag, I want to display the reply form. And if I go ahead and paste the code, and this is basically taken from the comment form, and I made a few changes in here, but yeah, we will be making some changes as per our needs. And if I save this and if I go ahead and now reload, then as you can see, for every comment we have this reply form because we are displaying that on a Livewire component, that is the comment component, and we are looping over these comments. So for every comment, this reply form is being rendered. So yeah, let's go ahead and now work on the interactivity part where the user can go ahead and toggle the state of this, and we can make use of Alpine.js and using a state that would either hide or show the form based on the state, which can be either true or false. So yeah, let's go ahead and define this X data directive provided by Filament. And here we will be defining this is replying property, which is initially going to be false, which indicates that the reply form would be hidden. And when the user clicks on it, then we will go ahead and toggle the state of this, which in turn is going to display the reply form. So yeah, if the is replying state is false, then we would not display this reply form. So this form is gonna be hidden if the is replying state is set to false, and if it is set to true, then this form would be displayed. So yeah, since we have a default value of false, so this should not be rendered in our front end. And if we go ahead and reload, then as you can see, the reply form is not rendered here. And if the user clicks on this reply button, then we would go ahead and toggle the state of our is replying property to true or false. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And we have that button in here somewhere. Okay, let's unfold this. And we have this reply button here. When the user clicks on this button, then what do we want to do is we want to go ahead and toggle the state of this is replying property and just inverse the state of this, which basically means to toggle the state of this. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And if it is initially false, then this would turn it into a true value. And if it is true, then it would turn it into a false value. So yeah, let's go ahead and now give this a try. If I click on reply, okay, what do we do? Where did we define this? Okay, so X on click is replying. It's gonna be set to the inverse of is replying. Okay, this should work. Okay, let's try to debug this. What's going on? I'll just go ahead and open the inspector tool and click on console. Okay, we have this syntax error, unexpected token. Expression is replying is not defined. Okay, let's go ahead and look into our declaration. We have this X data where is replying is set to false. And okay, I think we should wrap this inside curly braces. That could be the reason, because Alpine.js expects curly braces while defining a function or methods. So yeah, let's go ahead and reload, and we don't have Alpine specific errors now. And if we click on reply, then as you can see, the reply form is being rendered here. And if I go ahead and reply again, then the reply form is being hidden. So yeah, this looks good. And whenever we click on the cancel button, then in that case as well, I want to hide this button. For now, it doesn't do anything. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And one more thing that we can improve here is, instead of passing in this X on click, what we can do is we can also pass @click, which is a shorthand syntax. And yeah, Filament supports that as well. So yeah, let's copy that and paste that on the cancel button. When the user clicks on cancel, then in that case as well, we want to go ahead and hide the reply form or toggle the reply state. And now if I click on reply and click on cancel, then the state is being toggled. Okay, one more thing that we can improve here is the animation about this. So whenever the reply form is being rendered or hidden, we can apply some transitions to this, and Alpine.js supports some transitions. And for now, I'll just go ahead and define a simple transition, that is the X transition directive provided by Filament, and you can go ahead and modify that and add in more transitions based on your needs. But for now, I'll just go ahead and define this simple transition. And to make this work, what we also need to do is we should use this transition with the X show Alpine directive. If that doesn't exist, then this transition doesn't work. So yeah, let's save that. And if I click on reply now, then as you can see, the simple transition that has been applied when the reply form is shown or hidden. So yeah, this looks good. And in the next part, we'll be working on storing this reply into the database. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, so in the previous video, we implemented the functionality where the user can go ahead and click this reply button, and this would either show or hide the reply form. And now it's time to finally go ahead and store the reply into the database. But yeah, before actually implementing this functionality, there are a few things that we need to configure about the polymorphic relationship on the comment model. So yeah, let's go ahead and first open up the Laravel documentation, and I have opened that up in here. That is about the one-to-many polymorphic relationship. And this is something that we have implemented in our comment model as well. And here, this is showing the polymorphic relationship for the post and videos and the comments. So yeah, the scenario kind of matches with ours, and a post and videos can have many comments, and they are all connected by the polymorphic relationship. And for the model structure, if we go ahead and look into this, then there's this method defined called commentable, which is defining this morph2. And what this actually does is it returns the parent commentable model. And in this case, it can be either post or video. So yeah, this works without even defining this method. But since in our case, we are about to reply to a certain comment. So yeah, that's the reason we need the parent comment model. And yeah, we need to go ahead and define this commentable method on our comment model. So yeah, this is basically used to grab the parent commentable model. In this case, this would either return the post or the video model. But since in our case, we want to reply to a certain comment, that's the reason we need the parent comment model. So yeah, let's go ahead and copy this. And I hope that this makes sense now, since I have already explained to you 2 times. And yeah, this will make more sense once we actually implement this. So yeah, let's go ahead and copy that. And in our comment model, I'll just go ahead and paste that in here. And this would actually be used to grab the parent model from the polymorphic relationship. Okay, so let's go ahead and import this morph2 class. Let's import that. And that is imported from the Illuminate database eloquent relations morph2. And now we can go ahead and implement the reply functionality. So yeah, just like we did for the comment flow, where we defined a comment form and implemented the functionality to store the comment into the database on that comment form. So just like that, we will go ahead and define the reply form. And in that reply form, we will be defining the logic to store the reply into the database. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that form object called reply form. And okay, I already have that in my terminal. So I'll just go ahead and enter. And the methods on this reply form are almost going to be same as the comment form. So yeah, let's go ahead and navigate to the comment form and go ahead and copy the methods and properties in here. So the body is going to be almost same because a reply also needs a body. And yeah, let's go ahead and copy these methods and we will be modifying this based on our needs. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and copy that in here. And in the store comment method, instead of the store comment, this is going to be store reply. And instead of model, we will be receiving the comment that we want to make the reply to. And okay, we can go ahead and import that from the app models comment namespace. Let's go ahead and do that. And let's rename this as comment. And we will go ahead and validate the request. And we will be validating this body in this case. And the message is going to be, please enter a reply. And instead of model, this is going to be comment. And instead of the comments relationship, we will be grabbing the replies relationship. So let's go ahead and do that. And instead of creating this and storing it into the database directly, I want to go ahead and build this up by passing in this make method, which would actually make this model, but won't store it into the database. So now we are passing in the ID and the user ID, which look good. And the last thing that we need to do here is we need to go ahead and grab the parent comment and assign the polymorphic relationship accordingly. So yeah, let's go ahead and assign this to a variable called replies. Since this is basically a reply, we are just building out this model, but not storing into the database just yet, because we want to assign some more stuff to this model that is about polymorphic relationship. And here what we can do is we can grab the reply and use the commentable relationship that we defined in this video itself, and make sure to pass that as a method because this would return us the query. And then call the associate method, and in that associate method we will go ahead and pass in the polymorphic relationship of this comment model. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And the name is gonna be commentable because this is the name of the polymorphic relationship in our comment model. And now what this is gonna do is this is gonna associate this commentable polymorphic relationship to this reply model, and that would be done by using this commentable relationship name. So this could sound a bit confusing, but what this is generally doing is since we have a parent comment which has a commentable type of, let's say, app models episode. Okay, let's go ahead and spell that correctly. And this is basically grabbing these two fields, that is the commentable type and commentable ID, and then assigning these two values to this reply model. So this is basically doing that, and this might be a bit confusing, but now I hope that you got an idea about what this is actually doing. And once we store that reply, we'll go ahead and look into the database as well, how the reply is going to look like. And yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that. And we finally store the reply, we validate the request, and then we use the replies relationship to pass in the body and the user ID. And we have not yet stored this data into the database. And when we finally assign the commentable type and commentable ID to this reply model, we will go ahead and save that data into the database. So yeah, that also matters because until this point, if we don't go ahead and call this, it's not going to store that into the database. And finally, we'll go ahead and reset the body. Okay, so let's go ahead and look into the flow of this. And on our comment model, let's go ahead and now import this reply form object and wire this up on our front end accordingly. Okay, so this is the comment model. Let's open up the comment Livewire component, and here let's go ahead and import the reply form, and let's go ahead and name that as form because we don't have other forms in this comment model. Yeah, we don't have those, so yeah, that doesn't matter. And the main form that we have is in the comments Livewire component, so these are not going to conflict. Let's go ahead and save that. And now we have this reply form object available in this comment.blade, and we can go ahead and access that. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We have this reply form. When the user clicks on submit, then what do you want to do? If you want to go ahead and call the, okay, let's go ahead and spell this out correctly. When the user clicks on wire submit, then we want to go ahead and call the store reply method, which we haven't defined yet. And let's go ahead and wire this text area accordingly. So this is going to be wire modeled to the form dot body, and our form object is named as form. So that is the reason we have passed in as form dot body. And button type is submit. So when the user clicks on reply, then this method will be called. And when the user clicks on cancel, then the reply form is going to be hidden. Okay, so let's go ahead and define this reply store reply method on our comment Livewire component. So let's define that. The name is going to be store reply, and we'll just go ahead and call this form, and whatever the method we have defined in that form object, we can go ahead and call that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look into it, and we have store reply. So the names are identical, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. And this also expects the parent comment model. So yeah, let's go ahead and pass that by calling this comment. And now this workflow should work. Everything is configured accordingly. And if we have any issues, then we will go ahead and fix them. And okay, let's go ahead and sort these imports. And there's one more issue that we need to fix, that is about hiding the reply form on successful reply. which we will be working on in the upcoming video. But yeah, first let's go ahead and look at the functionality of whether the reply is being stored into the database or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our project, and I'll just reload. And currently we don't have any replies to this some comment example root comment. And let's go ahead and try to check the validation flow. Let's click on reply and nothing is happening. Okay, I think we have not displayed the validation messages, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, we have not done that, so I'll just open up the comments.blade, the Livewire blade file, and copy the error related code from here. So I'll just copy that and paste that on here. So I'll just paste that here, and okay, let's go ahead and format this properly. And okay, let's align that as well. And let's also go ahead and copy the validation message that we want to display when a validation error happens. So I'll just paste that in here, and we don't have to make any changes in here because our reply form object is also named as form. So yeah, that is gonna work. And now if I click on this reply button and without typing anything, if I click on this reply button, then as you can see, we get this validation error. So yeah, that workflow is working. Let's go ahead and type in some reply, click on reply, and now as you can see, the reply is being stored into the database and our Livewire component re-rendered, and then the reply is being displayed here. So yeah, this workflow looks good, and the only thing remaining here is to hide this reply whenever a user makes a reply. So yeah, we will be working on this in the upcoming video, but let's go ahead and look into this reply that we just made into our database as well. So let's go ahead and open up our phpMyAdmin. I'll just go ahead and log in, and okay, I'll just click on browse. So this is the reply that we just made, and the associate code that we executed in here, this block of code, what this actually did was it grabbed the commentable type and commentable ID from the parent comment, that is this comment, and assign that to this reply. So I hope that this makes sense now. And we wanted to attach this reply to this specific episode because we were making a comment to this specific model. So yeah, this flow now looks good, and we have made the reply. The parent ID is being linked accordingly, and the ID, user ID, is also being assigned, and everything else looks good. So yeah, we have now implemented the flow to make a reply, and we still have an issue about hiding the reply form when a user makes a reply. So yeah, we will be working on that in the next video. Okay, let's go ahead and now work on hiding this reply when a user successfully makes a reply. And to implement that, we will be making use of the Livewire's entangled feature, which basically enables us to sync the state between Alpine.js and Livewire. So let's say we have a property defined in Livewire called isReplying, and that property can be entangled with a property in Alpine.js, and whenever any one of the values changes, then that value will be synced accordingly in the front end or the back end. So let's say that value changed in the front end, then the value will be synced accordingly in the Livewire end as well. And if that value changed in the backend, that is, if Livewire changes that value, then Alpine.js is going to be synced accordingly. So yeah, we will be making use of the entangle property to sync this value, and when we successfully make a reply, then we will go ahead and set the isReplying value to false, and then that value would be synced accordingly in the front end, which in turn would hide this reply form. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So let's open up our code editor, and on our comment.blade, let's go ahead and define a property called isReplying, and let's set it to false by default. And on our Alpine.js component, let's go ahead and define that as an entangled property. And we have that on the comment.blade. We have defined this isReplying property, which is false initially, but we want to entangle this with our Livewire's isReplying property. And we can do that by passing in @entangled, and we can pass in the name of the property. And in this case, the name is isReplying. So let's go ahead and pass that. And now, whenever we toggle the value from the front end, then this value is going to be deferred by default. So even if we go ahead and toggle the state in our front end, then it's not going to make any network request to the backend. So yeah, that is efficient in cases like these. But when we toggle that value from the backend, that is if Livewire changes that value, then it's gonna update that accordingly in the front end, which in turn is gonna hide the form. Since our form is displayed based on this value, so yeah, that is gonna work accordingly. So now our isReplying property is synced with this isReplying property from the Livewire. And when we successfully make a reply, that is on our comment component, when we make this reply, we can now go ahead and set the isReplying to false, which in turn is going to set the isReplying property in our front end to false. And since our form is being rendered based on this value, then the reply form is going to be hidden. So let's go ahead and now look into this flow. Let's go ahead and give this a try one more time. I'll click on this reply button and type in another reply. Click on reply. Then as you can see, the reply was made and the reply form was hidden automatically. And yeah, let's also go ahead and look into the network request when we try to toggle the state of this reply form. Let's navigate to the network tab and let's filter that up by xhr and fetch. And okay, let's get rid of everything. And if I go ahead and toggle the state of this, then as you can see, this is all done with JavaScript and no any network request is made to the backend. But if the request is made from the backend, that is from the Livewire end, then that request will be batched and the UI is going to be updated accordingly. So yeah, this is really performant and works best in cases like these. So yeah, this functionality is now working, and in the next video we'll go ahead and look into some performance issues that is about eager loading and the n+1 query issues. So yeah, we will be fixing those in the upcoming video. Okay, let's go ahead and improve the performance of our comment component. And one of the main ways to improve the performance of our project is by optimizing the query our project makes to the database. And we can implement some eager loading strategies to eager load the data to prevent from the n+1 query issues. And since we are loading the comments and again the replies of that comment, and along with that we are also displaying the user related data, which is again is a relationship which is linked to another model. So yeah, I'm sure that in this case we are running into n+1 issues, and yeah, we will be looking into these queries and figure out the issues, and then we'll fix them one by one. So yeah, to debug the queries, we will be installing the debug bar, that is the Laravel debug bar composer package. And yeah, let's go ahead and install that first, and then we will be looking into the queries and then fix them one by one. So let's go ahead and install the Laravel debug bar composer package. And yeah, the command to install that is composer require barry vdh Laravel debug bar. Okay, let's hit enter and let's wait for it to install. Okay, so the package has been installed, and let's now go ahead and reload, and we should see this icon at the bottom. And if we go ahead and click on it, then on our queries tab, as you can see, currently we are executing 15 queries, and in which 6 of them are duplicated. And if I go ahead and reload again, then this is the result, 6 of which are duplicated and 9 are unique. So I will try to remove these duplicated queries as much as possible, but yeah, there are some limitations to this, and we can't actually omit all of the duplicated queries, but we will get to a point where even if we render a lot of comments or replies, we won't be running into the n+1 issues. So yeah, let's go ahead and implement some eager loading strategies to remove these duplicated queries. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up our comments Livewire component. And here, what we are doing is we are grabbing the model. In this case, we have the model as episode. So from the episode model, we are using the comments relationship and getting only the parent data, and then sorting them by latest, and finally grabbing the records from the database. So let's go ahead and define these in new lines to make this a bit more readable. And after we use this comments relationship, and we are using this as a query builder, so this won't actually execute it just yet. And here now we can apply some eager loading strategies once we use this comments relationship. So we can use the with helper to load the relationships that we want eager load. So a comment has a user, and we are displaying the user related data in here. As you can see, this comments user is being displayed here, and we want eager load that as well. So let's go ahead and eager load the user relationship. And currently we have 15 queries, and 6 of which are duplicated. So let's go ahead and save this, and let's look into the difference. Okay, so now 4 of them are duplicated, and we have 14 queries. So this makes a bit of a difference, but still we need to implement more eager loading strategies. So let's go ahead and look into it. So after we load the comments, what we are also doing is we are displaying the replies of these comments, and replies are also a relationship, and they are also queried from the database. So yeah, let's go ahead and eager load the replies as well. And for each of the replies, again, we are displaying the user data. So what we can do is we can chain the relationship here, which is going to load the replies and the associated users for this replies in one query. So let's save this, and now if we go ahead and reload, then we have 10 queries, and 2 of which were duplicated. And this is happening because this is grabbing the currently authenticated user, and another one is from the comments.php itself. We can't really track from where this is coming. This is the limitation that I was talking about. We can't really omit this, but there's one way to do that. If we go ahead and look into this, okay, we are grabbing the model using the comments relationship with user and replies.user, grabbing the parent comments and sorting them by latest. Okay, so let's go ahead and look into our comment model. And okay, this is the comment Livewire component. Let's navigate to the comment model, and here we have the parent, we have the user, and then we have the replies, and this has many comment class. So what we can do here is we can load the replies again of the replies. And okay, let's go ahead and look into that. Let's see what this difference is going to be when we try to load the replies of the replies. And okay, now we have 7 queries, but still the users is being duplicated. So yeah, let's go ahead and chain this dot user relationship in here, and let's reload. Okay, that doesn't make much difference, but yeah, from 15 queries we are now down to 7 queries. So yeah, I think we have optimized this a lot, and yeah, this is the point at which we can't really eager load much stuff, but still this is a really good improvement. Okay, so this didn't make a difference, so I'll go ahead and remove that. And now we are eager loading the user and the replies related data. So yeah, this looks good, and we have implemented the eager loading strategies in our comment component. And in the next video, we will be looking at toggling the edit state. That is, just like we have this reply state, we will be implementing this edit functionality where the user can go ahead and toggle the edit form and we will be working on filling the form with this value later, but first we will be looking at toggling the form of this, and we will be working on that in the next video. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement the functionality to edit a certain comment. And the workflow that we want to implement here is whenever a user clicks on this edit button, then a form should be rendered, and in that form the comment should be populated automatically, and then they can go ahead and update the comment, and when they click on update, then that data should be updated into the database, and our Livewire component should also re-render accordingly. So yeah, for now we'll go ahead and toggle the state of this. When the user clicks on this edit button, then we'll show a form just like this reply form, and we want to populate this comment into this form. And yeah, we will be implementing that flow first, and later we will be implementing the updating of the comment into the database and the other stuff, that is hiding the comment form accordingly on a successful comment update. So yeah, we will be looking into that in the upcoming videos, but for now we will go ahead and toggle the state and populate the comment body into this form. And yeah, the workflow is going to be almost similar to this reply form, where we are showing this when the user clicks on it, and we will be grabbing the design from this reply form itself. So yeah, let's open up our VS Code, and we have this comments.blade. Okay, so this is the comments.blade. Let's remove that, and we want the comment.blade Livewire component where we are actually rendering the reply form. Okay, this is the one. I'll just go ahead and copy this and go ahead and paste that in the main comment body, above the main comment body. So here we have the main comment body. Let's go ahead and display this below the comment body, and instead of reply, this is gonna be update. The cancel is gonna set the is replying. Instead of is replying, we will define one more property called is editing. And here we have x show and x transition wire submit. Instead of store reply, this is going to be something else which we'll be working on in the upcoming video. We have the comment. We will be working on this wire model thing, and instead of write a reply, this is going to be write a comment. And let's go ahead and define this is editing property in here. And just like we have this entangle feature implemented for the is replying, we will go ahead and do the same for the is editing as well, because when a user successfully updates the comment, then we want to go ahead and hide the form from the front end. So yeah, we will be making use of this entangle property to hide the form. Okay, so let's go ahead and define the is editing property, and yeah, let's go ahead and define that entangle directive as well, because we will be defining this in the Livewire end as well. So let's copy that, and let's navigate to the comment.php Livewire component, and let's go ahead and define this is editing property that is going to be set to false by default. And yeah, initially the user won't be editing the comment, but when they click on the edit button, then we will set this value to true and then display the form. Okay, so now we have defined this property, so we can now go ahead and use that on the front end, and we want to display this comment body if the is editing is set to false. So let's go ahead and pass that, and we want to show this comment form, that is the update form for the comment, if the is editing is set to true. So yeah, let's go ahead and pass that. Instead of is replying, this is going to be is editing. We can pass in the X transition. We will go ahead and update this wire submit later, and the label looks good. The text area and the wire model, we will be working on this, and everything else looks good in here. Okay, so let's save this, and when the user clicks on cancel, we want to go ahead and toggle the state of is editing. So let's go ahead and update that accordingly, and yeah, this should now work. Let's go ahead and give this a try. We should have this toggle state implemented, but we still need to go ahead and populate the comment on the form, which we have not done yet. But okay, our comment body is not displayed in here, so let's go ahead and look into the logic for this. So for the form, this will be displayed if its editing is set to true, and this will be displayed if is editing is set to false. Okay, so by default this is set to false, and we are grabbing that from the entangle directive by calling this is editing, and we have that in here that is set to false initially. And since this is set to false and we are passing that as a negative operator, so we are passing in a negation operator in here, so this should be set to true, but this is not being rendered. So what could be the issue in here? Okay, let's try to look into our inspector tool, and let's click on console. And then okay, we have a lot of errors in here. Let's try to reload. And okay, Alpine is throwing so much of errors in here. Unexpected identifier is editing, so I think we have some syntax error in here. So let's pass in this semicolon in here, and let's try to reload. Okay, this is still not working. Okay, instead of passing in a semicolon, let's go ahead and pass in comma. I think this was missing because we are defining two properties now, and they should be separated by a comma. And okay, now our comment is rendered, and if I click on edit, nothing is happening because we have not triggered the event that is to toggle this state. So let's go ahead and do that on our edit button. When the user clicks on the edit button, okay, we have that cancel in here. Let's go ahead and copy that, and we have the edit button in here. When the user clicks on it, we want to go ahead and set the is editing value to true. So let's save that, and if I now go ahead and reload and click on edit, okay, so instead of the comment body, that is replaced by this form, and we have the update and cancel buttons. If I click on cancel, then the form is hidden and the body is being rendered again. So yeah, this flow looks good. And now we need to go ahead and populate the comment body in here, and then implement the flow to actually update the comment. So yeah, I think this video is getting a bit lengthy, and we will be working on updating this comment in the next video. Okay, so in the previous video, we implemented this toggle functionality for this edit form, where we can go ahead and click on this edit button and we would see this form instead of the comment. And yeah, we still need to implement this whole flow where we can go ahead and update the comment, and that would update our comment in the database, and our Livewire component would also re-render with the updated comment. So yeah, we still need to work on that. And one more thing that we need to do here is this comment box is currently empty, and when the user clicks on the edit button, then we need to go ahead and populate the current comment that we want to edit, and then they can go ahead and update that. So yeah, we need to work on this. And just like we have done in the previous videos, where we would define a form object that would handle the form related stuff, we will be doing the same for this flow as well, and we will define the form object and then work on this. So yeah, let's go ahead and define the form object that is going to be responsible for editing or updating the comment. And let's go ahead and open up our terminal, and let's define that form object. And I'm going to name this as update comment, because this is going to be responsible for updating the comment. So yeah, the naming is also really important here. And yeah, we can prefix this with the update comment form, because this is a form object. So yeah, that makes sense. Let's hit enter and let's navigate to that. Okay, so let's go ahead and look into our reply form. And just like a normal reply, our update comment form object is going to have a body, and then we would define a method that would again update the comment. So yeah, let's go ahead and copy these methods and properties from here, and I'll just go ahead and paste them in here. And yeah, we do need the body, and the message here is going to be please enter a comment, and the name of the method is going to be update comment, and this is going to receive the comment that we want to update. So let's go ahead and import this comment model from app models comment. We are going to validate the request, and I don't think we need to assign this to any variable, so I'll go ahead and remove that, and we can just use the comment update method to update the body of the comment. We don't need to update anything else because the user ID is going to be the original user that made the comment. So we can remove that, and we also don't need this, and we also don't need this. And finally, we can go ahead and reset the body. And there are a few things. Once we update this comment, we still need to work on a few stuff in here, which we'll be working on later. But yeah, this is a good starting point. And yeah, one of the things that we need to work on in here is when we click on the edit button, then this form gets rendered, but we need a way to populate this text area. So how do we do that? And yeah, this is a really simple fix. We can do that by using the Livewire's lifecycle hook, and we can watch for the is editing property, and whenever that is updated, then we can go ahead and populate this text area. And yeah, we will work on this flow. So let's go ahead and look into the is editing property that we have defined in our comments.php, which is a Livewire component. And okay, not here. Actually, we have that on the comment.php Livewire component. We have this is editing property defined, and whenever this value is set to true, then it means that the edit form is being rendered, and then we can go ahead and populate this. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And one more thing that I want to mention here is we have defined the update comment form, and in that form we have this body. So we can go ahead and wire model this in our edit forms, and then we will go ahead and populate this body. And since this is a wire modeled property, then whatever we set this on our backend is going to be reflected on the front end accordingly, and vice versa, because whenever we set the value from the front end as well, it's going to be reflected in the backend. So a wire model works that way. And yeah, let's go ahead and wire model this on our comment.php. We have the edit form, that is this form, and by default there's a margin left of 8 applied, and if you don't want that behavior, you can go ahead and remove that. And if we go ahead and click on edit, then this form is being rendered here, so you can go ahead and implement that. And when we remove that margin left of 8 class, then this form gets rendered alongside this avatar area. So you can go ahead and do that. I will keep it like this because this aligns with this UI of the username. And okay, let's now go ahead and wire model this with our update comment forms body. And here, let's implement that flow. So let's open up our comment.blade, and here we have this update form. And okay, currently we are wire modeling this with form.body, and we have not imported the update comment form in our comment Livewire component. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll just define that below this reply form, the name is update comment form, and let's name this as update form because yeah, this makes sense. And now we can go ahead and reference this update form on our blade file. So instead of form, this is gonna be update form, and we are wire modeling this with update forms body property, and everything else looks good. So when we click on submit, we can go ahead and update the comment. Let's go ahead and define that method on our Livewire component. And when we click on cancel, then we set the is editing to false. Okay, this should be false because when we click on cancel, we need to set it to false. And yeah, the previous code would also work because if the form is being rendered, it means that the is editing is set to true, and this would set it to false because we are passing this negation operator. So that would work as well. But yeah, for more readability, I'll go ahead and define this as false. And now let's go ahead and define the update comment method on our comment livewire component. Let's define that update comment, and we click on this update comment method. What do you want to do? We want to go ahead and call this update forms update comment method. I think we have named that. Okay. And to get the comment that is currently being edited, we have that reference in here. And to test this out, what we can do is let's go ahead and dd the comment model that we have access to in this component, because we have defined that property in here. This is the comment that we are currently rendering in our Livewire component. And okay, let's go ahead and give this a try now. I'll just reload and click on edit. Currently we don't have any value in here, but if I go ahead and type any random string and click on update, then as you can see, the comment that we are currently editing is being rendered. The sum comment example, the commentable type, commentable ID, everything is working fine. And this also applies for our reply record, because a reply is basically a comment and we are rendering these replies inside our comment component. So yeah, this is going to work for comments and for the replies. So if I click on edit, let's type in some random string, click on update, and if I go ahead and check the attributes, then as you can see, we have some reply being dumped. So yeah, this looks good. And let's now go ahead and work on updating the comment on our backend. Okay, so let's go ahead and finalize this flow to update a certain comment. And in the previous video, we went ahead and typed in some data, and we could see the comment being dumped in here, the comment that we are currently editing. And now we need to go ahead and finalize this flow. But there's one more thing that we need to implement here. That is, when the user clicks on this edit button, then we also need to go ahead and populate the body of this comment on this edit form. So how are we going to do this? You might think that this is a really difficult thing to achieve, but since we are using Livewire and Livewire is really powerful, so using the features of Livewire, we are going to go ahead and implement this feature in a really easy way. And I think we have discussed this in the previous section as well, where we implemented the lifecycle properties of Livewire and implemented the dependent dropdown functionality. And yeah, we can make use of that in this case as well, since we have the is editing property defined, and we can watch for that is editing property. And when that is editing property is set to true, then it means that the form is being rendered. And in that case, we can go ahead and populate our body, that is the comment form objects body, and we can go ahead and populate that. So let's go ahead and define that lifecycle property to watch for this is editing property, and whenever this value is updated, then we will check whether it is a true value or a false value. And if it is a true value, then it means that the form is being rendered, and we can go ahead and populate the body property of our update comment form. So yeah, this will make more sense once we actually implement this. So let's go ahead and define that lifecycle property. And this is something that we have discussed earlier as well. Whenever we are checking for an update for a certain property, we can go ahead and define that as, let's say we want to check for the updated lifecycle hook, then we can go ahead and pass that updated label followed by the name of the property. And in this case, we want to check for the is editing property. So we can go ahead and pass that, and we also get the value that it was updated to. And let's go ahead and just dd this to actually see this in action. And one more thing that I need to mention before we actually look into this flow is, by default, the properties that we define here are deferred. That is, they are going to work in the front end, but they are not going to be synced in the back end. At least that's the general behavior, and we need to modify that. And I think we have demonstrated this in the previous videos as well. So if I go ahead and inspect this page, and let's go ahead and open up the network inspector. And okay, let's get rid of everything. And if I click on this edit button, then the form gets rendered. The is editing value is set to true, but that only happens in the front end, and no any network is sent to the backend. So by default, these properties are deferred, which means that they won't be making any network requests to the backend. And we need to go ahead and modify that default behavior. And we can do that by passing in modifiers to this. And we don't need to make any changes to this is replying property because this is working fine. We only need to go ahead and work on this is editing property because we want to watch for any change that happens in this property. So we can go ahead and pass in this dot live modifier, which is going to now make this property as live, and whenever this property is updated, then Livewire is going to sync this property with the backend, which in turn is going to set the is editing property of our Livewire component to true, which in turn is going to call this updated is editing method, and here we are dumping the value that it was updated to. So let's go ahead and give this a try, and don't forget to save this comment.blade. And now if I go ahead and reload, and yeah, we are also going to look into this network tab to check for any network activities. If I click on edit, then as you can see, a request was made to the backend, and then the value was dumped here. So now we can go ahead and assign our body property of this update comment form to whatever the body of the comment is. That is to say that if the value is true, then only in that case we want to go ahead and update the body of our form. And if it is true, then we will go ahead and grab the update form object and set the property of the body to the comment that we are currently editing. So yeah, let's save this and let's go ahead and give this a try now. And since we are setting the body of the form object in the backend, and since we are wire modeling this accordingly in the front end, that is defined in here. Since we are wire modeling this, so any changes we make in the backend is going to be synced with the front end, and that would be reflected accordingly in our text area. So let's go ahead and give this a try one more time. I'll click on edit, and as you can see, the value is being populated here. So yeah, this is going to apply to the replies as well. If I go ahead and click on edit, then as you can see, the reply is being populated here. And yeah, this is going to work for all of our replies and comments. So now we have that. And once the user clicks on the update button, then what is going to happen? So let's go ahead and look into it. So when we click on the submit button, we call this update comment, which in turn is going to call this update comment, and then we are going to reference our form object, that is the update form, and then call the update comment method that we have defined in that form object. And we also need to pass in the comment that we are currently editing, because our update form is not going to know which model we are currently editing or updating, so we need to pass that. And on our update comment, we will be validating that request. We have the model that has been passed as a parameter, that is the comment model. We go ahead and update the body of that, and then we reset the body. And finally, once that is done, we go ahead and set the is editing property to true again, which is going to hide the form in the front end, and everything is going to work seamlessly. So let's go ahead and set the is editing to false. And since we have defined this property now, that is the watcher that is going to watch for this is editing property, whenever this value is set to true, then we will go ahead and update the body of our property that is defined in this update form object. to the comment that we are currently editing. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. And when the user clicks on submit, we go ahead and call this update comment method, which in turn is going to update that comment and set the is editing property to false. Okay, so I've iterated this a lot of times, and I guess that you have already understood the flow. And finally, it's time to test this out. I'll go ahead and remove this inspector, click on edit. We have this some comment example as a body. I'll go ahead and type in some comment example updated, click on update, and now as you can see, the comment was updated and our form was hidden automatically. So this looks good, and this is going to work for the replies as well. And yeah, this looks good. So now we have a comment system with the ability to make comments and the ability to make replies and editing these comments and replies with a really efficient implementation. So yeah, this looks good. And in the next part, we will be looking at authorizing the edits and updates. So currently, any user can go ahead and update any other comments because we are not performing any authorization related stuff. So yeah, we will be working on that in the next video. Okay, let's go ahead and implement some authorization checks on this comment component. And we want to implement the authorization check whenever we are trying to edit this comment, because in other cases like replying, anyone can reply to a certain comment. And yeah, for deleting as well, only the user who made that comment can either edit or delete a certain comment. So yeah, only the owner can delete or edit a comment, and we need to go ahead and implement the proper authorization checks to let only the author update or delete the comment. And right now the current situation is anyone can go ahead and edit or delete this comment because we are not implementing any authorization checks. And if the user is authenticated, then they can go ahead and edit, or we have not implemented this delete functionality, but they can go ahead and edit this comment. So yeah, for now, we'll go ahead and implement the authorization check for this edit flow, and later we'll implement this delete check as well when we actually implement comment deleting functionality. So let's go ahead and implement that, and we will be making use of policies to implement this flow. So let's go ahead and define a new policy called comment policy, and in that policy we can go ahead and check for a certain model's update or delete flow, and we can implement the authorization checks in there. So let's define that comment policy, and the command to create a policy is artisan make policy, and the name of the policy. So in this case, I'm going to name this as comment policy because we will be defining the checks for the comment model, and we can even go ahead and pass in the model to this, and this is going to be filled on the methods that this policy defines. This is going to pass this model as a parameter to all of the methods this policy contains. So yeah, this is going to make our authorization checks a bit more easier. So yeah, let's go ahead and hit enter, and let's navigate to this comment policy. And we want to implement the authorization check for the update flow. That is, if the user is the owner of this comment, then only in that case we want to let them edit or update the comment. So yeah, now we have this user model, which is the currently authenticated user. This is going to be injected automatically, and the comment model. So we want to check for the authorization for this comment model, and we have the user ID stored in our comment model. And since we also have the currently authenticated user, so we can go ahead and implement that check in here, and this expects a Boolean value, so it should return either true or false. And if we go ahead and implement that check where if the user's ID is equal to the comments user ID, then only in that case we want to let them update the comment. And we can use this on our backend and frontend to either hide this edit button based on whether they have the access or not, and we can implement the same in our backend as well. But first we need to go ahead and register this comment policy in our auth service provider. So let's open that up. And here we have this policies array. So we can go ahead and map these. And this expects an array of class string and class string model to policy mapping. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that model first, comment class, and we want to implement the policy called comment policy for this comment class. And let's go ahead and import these. Comment is going to be imported from the app models comment namespace. And let's also import this comment policy class. And now we can go ahead and implement this check whenever the user is updating this comment. So when they click on this edit button and when they click on update, then we can go ahead and implement that check. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I will save this. We have not saved this file yet. And let's now go to our comment.php Livewire component, because here we are updating this comment. Before we actually call this update comment method, we can go ahead and check for the access, whether a user has an access to update this comment or not. So let's go ahead and do that. And we can pass in this authorize method. And to implement this, we also need to go ahead and use a trait that is provided by Livewire. That is the use authorize request trait. Let's go ahead and import that. And okay, this is actually provided by Laravel, and this is imported from the eliminate foundation auth access authorize requests. And we can now go ahead and check for whether the user has the authorization for updating this comment. So let's go ahead and pass that. This is going to be update, and we also need to pass in the comment model. And in this case, we already have the comment model, that is this comment that we have access in our Livewire component. And now whenever we try to update this comment, we check for the authorization whether the currently authenticated user has access to update this comment. And this update method basically maps to this update method that we have in here. And if this returns true, then the other block of code will be executed. That is, the remaining block of code will be executed. And if this returns false, then the flow of this code will be aborted and this block of code won't be executed. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a try now. We have the comment policy defined. We have registered this in our auth service provider, and we have also implemented the check accordingly when we try to update this comment. So okay, I think all of these comments are made by one user, that is the user that is currently authenticated. So yeah, they do have access to update these comments, and I'll just go ahead and try that out. I'll try to remove this updated string in here and try to update. And if our check is implemented properly, then we should be able to update this comment. So let's go ahead and give this a try. I'll click on update, and okay, the comment was updated, and yeah, this workflow looks good. But yeah, let's go ahead and register a new user and try to check for this flow once again. I'll try to log out and click on register. Let's register with a new user, summail@gmail.com. Password is gonna be password, and click on register. Okay, now we are logged in, and let's navigate to the episodes route, episode 1, and now the user that is currently authenticated is not the author of this comment, and we should get a not authorized error when we try to update this comment. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll just click on edit and click on update, and now as you can see, the action is unauthorized. So yeah, this check is now working, and we also need to go ahead and add that check in our front end, because we need to hide this edit button if the user is not authorized to update this comment. And that's pretty simple. We can go ahead and add that check with the can directive. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's navigate to the edit button in here and let's wrap this inside the can directive. And if the user can update this comment, and we also need to go ahead and pass in the comment, and we can do that because we already have access to this comment. And let's go ahead and pass that button in here. And now if the user is not authorized to update this comment, then this button won't even render in the front end. So let's go ahead and reload. And now as you can see, since the currently authenticated user, that is the sum name, is not authorized to update this comment. So yeah, that's the reason the edit button is not rendered here. And let's try to log out and again log in with the admin details. And since the admin is the owner of the comment, they should be able to edit the comment. And here, as you can see, they have access to the comment and they can go ahead and edit and update this comment. So yeah, we can go ahead and implement this flow in other areas of your application as well, like while trying to delete a certain record, we can go ahead and implement that check in the backend and the front end, which we will be doing in the comment deleting video. So yeah, we are almost done for this video, and in the next part we'll be looking at model presenters, which basically help us to move some of our model related code into a separate class. And yeah, we will be looking into that in the next video. Okay, let's look at implementing model presenters. And if you are unaware about model presenters, then they are basically simple PHP classes which are used to offload the methods that we generally define on our models. And this can be used to minimize the methods that we define on our models, because over time, as our application grows, then our models become really large with so many methods defined on them. And here, model presenters are generally used to offload those methods into a specific class. So let's go ahead and define that, and you will see this in action and properly understand this once we actually go ahead and look into one of the model presenters. So let's go ahead and define a new class, and I'm going to define that inside the app models presenters namespace. Let's define a new folder called presenters, and I'm going to define one presenter for our comment model. So let's go ahead and define that comment presenter dot php. Let's go ahead and define the PHP tag. Let's give it a namespace of app models presenters. Let's give it a class of comment presenter, and let's define the constructor in here, public function construct, and this is going to receive a comment model which is going to be used by this presenter to format some sort of data, or any methods that we want to define on our comment model will be defined in this presenter class. So yeah, that's the reason we need to inject our comment model, and we can do that by passing the comment model as a parameter to the constructor. And let's go ahead and import the comment model from the app models comment namespace, and let's name this parameter as comment, and we can go ahead and define this comment equal to comment that will receive as a parameter. But yeah, this is an old way, and with PHP 8 there's a new way. Anything that we receive as a parameter can be assigned like this, but with PHP 8 what we can do is we can use the constructor property promotion, and instead of assigning it like this, we can go ahead and define this as public comment, and now we don't have to do this. So yeah, we can now omit that, and this comment property will be available throughout our class. So let's go ahead and define one presenter that is going to be named as relative created at, and this is something that we would typically define in our comment model. That is, since in our comment.blade, we are displaying the comments created at and passing in this diff for humans. And if you wanted to use this in multiple places, then we would define a method that would pass in this created at in this diff for humans format, and we can go ahead and use this in multiple locations. But using this approach, our comment will get really big with time as our project grows. So what we can do is we can go ahead and offload those methods in these classes that are generally called presenters. And here we can go ahead and return the comment created at diff for humans. And now we can use this method on our comment model, and that declaration will be defined only once. And whatever method we define in this presenter can be accessed from our comment model in places like these. So let's go ahead and define this comment presenter in our comment model. I'll just save this, and let's now navigate to our comment model. And here, let's go ahead and define the method called presenter, and we will be referencing this presenter in multiple places wherever we want to access this presenter class. And here, this is going to return a new instance of the comment presenter. Let's go ahead and import that. And since this expects a comment model, so we can go ahead and pass in the comment model as this, because this in this comment model references to this comment model itself. So yeah, now we can go ahead and reference this presenter method anywhere we want to, like in the comment.blade. Instead of calling this created at diff for humans, we can use the presenter method and then call the relative created at, which is going to render the date accordingly, and it is going to format it accordingly as well, because we are formatting that in this relative created at method. Okay, so let's go ahead and reload, and this should not have any changes because we just implemented the same thing but in a different way. And you can go ahead and implement this for other use cases like displaying the avatar, which might need some calculations based on our use cases. And yeah, I think you got an idea now. We can go ahead and define these methods in this separate presenter class, and this would prevent our models from being large, since most of our methods are going to be offloaded in these presenters. And yeah, we can go ahead and reference them anywhere we want, just like we are doing it here. And yeah, this is a really good approach if we have a lot of methods in our models. So yeah, we are almost done for this video, and in the next part we will be looking at deleting a comment. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and implement the flow to delete a certain comment. And the general flow here is the owner of a comment, that is the user who made the comment, should be able to delete the comment that they made, and they should not be able to delete the comment that other users made. And this is the general flow in every web application, and we will be implementing that. So yeah, let's go ahead and implement that. Let's open up our code editor, and here we have this comment.blade. Let's go ahead and first implement the comment policy, because we looked into that in the previous video as well. And we have the delete button in here somewhere. Okay, this is the one. And we want to render this only if the user is authorized to delete the comment. So let's go ahead and define that method, the delete method, in our comment policy. And yeah, the check is going to be same for the delete as well. Just like in our update method, we have this user ID check with the comments user ID. We can go ahead and paste that. And yeah, this should work. Let's now go ahead and wrap this inside this can directive, and instead of update, this is going to be delete. And let's go ahead and end the can in here. Let's save that, And what do you want to do when the user clicks on this button? So yeah, first we will go ahead and display the confirmation message, that is the JavaScript confirmation dialog, that would prevent the users from accidentally deleting a comment. So even if we go ahead and accidentally delete this button, we will show a confirmation dialog, and if they click on OK, then only then we will be deleting that comment. So we can easily implement that using the wire confirm directive provided by Livewire, and we'll just display a simple message saying are you sure, and if they click on the OK, then we will go ahead and delete the comment. So yeah, let's go ahead and add this wire click directive in here. That is, when they click on this button, we will show this wire confirm message, and then we will define a method in here that would delete the comment. And yeah, there are a few issues that we need to address in here. We could go ahead and define this delete comment method in our comment Livewire component, but yeah, this could have some issues about refreshing the Livewire component, because this is a self-contained Livewire component, and we are displaying all of our comments using the comments Livewire component. And if one of the comments is deleted, then the Livewire component might not refresh, because by default Livewire component behaves as an island. And to make you understand in a simple way, island means self-contained. So yeah, this might cause some issues, but yeah, we will be looking into that issue, and then we will fix that later. So yeah, let's go ahead and define the delete method in this comment Livewire component itself, and then we will look into the issues that we might face in here. So yeah, let's define the delete comment method, and we don't have to pass that as a parameter because we already have this comment in here. So we can go ahead and dd that. Let's try to dd the comment in here, and let's see what model do we get when we run this code. And when the user clicks on OK, then we will go ahead and call this delete method. Okay, let's save that, and let's reload, and let's click on delete. If I click on cancel, nothing's happening. And okay, let's also go ahead and add a new comment, because yeah, just for demonstration purposes, I'll add a new comment. And if I click on delete and click on OK, then as you can see, the model is being dumped in here. So yeah, now we can go ahead and delete that. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We will just grab the comment and delete it. But first, we also need to go ahead and check the authorization related stuff. So yeah, let's go ahead and pass that in, and then we can delete the comment. So yeah, what do you think is going to happen when we run this method and we delete the comment? I am assuming that our Livewire component is not going to re-render after we successfully delete this comment, because by default Livewire component acts as an island. That is, they are self-contained, and the parent Livewire component, that is the comments component, won't really know when to re-render when we try to delete any one of the comments, because they act as an island. And yeah, that's the reason the parent Livewire component is not going to re-render. And yeah, that could cause an issue, because we need to show that update in our front end. That is, we need to let the user know that the comment was deleted. So let's go ahead and give that a try. I'll try to click on delete. Then as you can see, the comment was deleted, but our Livewire component did not re-render. So yeah, this is the issue. And if I reload, then as you can see, the comment is not displayed here, which means that it was actually deleted from the database, but the Livewire component did not re-render. And yeah, what we can do here is we can go ahead and emit an event, and when that event is triggered, we would go ahead and catch that event and run some block of code when a certain event is triggered. So we will be using that approach, and fix this issue. And one more thing that I want to mention here before moving forward is, as per the Livewire documentation, we should try to avoid this event and try to use the parent directive as much as possible. And if you are not aware about the parent directive, then that basically enables us to call any parent methods from a nested Livewire component by using the parent directive. And yeah, we will be looking into that approach as well and figure out the issues that may arise along the way, and then we'll fix that as well as we move along. So yeah, let's go ahead and define this delete comment in our parent Livewire component, that is on our comments Livewire component, and from there we will go ahead and delete the comment. So yeah, I'll just go ahead and cut this block of code and paste that on our comments Livewire component. And yeah, the general behavior of Livewire is, whenever we are rendering a for each loop in our Livewire component, that is in this case in our comments Livewire component, we are rendering a for each loop, and in that loop we are displaying the comment component, that is we are rendering the comment component. And if any of the values that we are passing in from this comments Livewire component changes, then Livewire is smart enough to track that change, and it would automatically re-render our parent component to reflect that change. So yeah, that's the reason it suggests us to use the parent route as much as possible and avoid the event listener path, because that approach is efficient as per the Livewire documentation. And yeah, we'll try to implement that in here. So that's the reason we have defined this delete comment in the parent component, and from here we will be deleting that comment, which is gonna re-render our Livewire component automatically. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that. And now what we can do is, in our comment.blade, we can reference the parent.delete comment. And yeah, there's one more issue in here, that is we don't have access to the comment model currently, because yeah, we don't have that property defined in here. But what we can do is we can go ahead and pass that as a parameter in here. So let's go ahead and pass that comment ID in here, and now we can go ahead and grab this in our comments component. Let's go ahead and grab that, and yeah, let's go ahead and define that as comment ID. And now we can, okay, let's go ahead and grab the comment by the ID, and then we can reference that everywhere. So I'll just remove this keyword from here, and now we have the comment. And yeah, let's go ahead and look into this approach. So whenever we click on this delete button, then we will call this parent.delete comment. And since our comments Livewire component is rendering the individual comments, that is in here, this is rendering this comment component, which in turn is this blade file being rendered, then our delete comment of the comments Livewire component will be called. And yeah, this is going to delete the comment. And since we are defining this method in our parent Livewire component, then Livewire is automatically going to refresh, and this change will be reflected in the UI as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and DD first. Let's try to look into this flow, whether this actually works or not, and then we will implement other stuff. So yeah, let's save this, and let's also save this comment.blade. And if I go ahead and reload and click on delete, click on OK, then as you can see, 4 is being dumped in here, which is the ID of the comment. And now we can go ahead and delete that. But this still has an issue, and we will be looking into that as well. We will fix that later. But yeah, let's go ahead and look into this approach, and we will also talk about the issue that this has, and then we'll fix it. Okay, so let's reload. And if I, okay, let's add a new comment in here, another comment. Let's click on comment and try to delete this newly created comment. I'll click on delete and go ahead and click on this OK button. Okay, model app Livewire comment find does not exist. I think we referenced this as, okay, we have not imported the comment model. So let's go ahead and import that. Let's import that from the app models comment namespace, and yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. I'll click on delete, click on OK, and as you can see, the Livewire component automatically re-rendered, and we did not have to do anything to reflect that change in the UI. So yeah, this thing is working, and we don't have to implement the event listener approach to refresh our Livewire component. But yeah, there's one issue this approach has, and I'll let you figure out that yourself, and then we will fix that in the upcoming video. Did you figure out the issue that we had in our previous approach? And if you did, thumbs up. And even if you went ahead and fixed that issue, then really great. It means that you know the limitations of Livewire and you know how to fix those limitations. And for the others, if you figure out the issue but you could not implement a solution, we will be working on that together in this video. So yeah, let's go ahead and look into the issue first. We could delete the main comments, that is the root comments, but what if we try to delete a reply? And this could have a possible issue because the way our current approach works is, let's look into that first. So on our comments.php, that is the Livewire component, we have defined this delete comment method, and on our comment.blade, we are referencing this delete comment by using this parent helper directive provided by Livewire, which in turn is going to call the parent method of this Livewire component that is currently rendered. So in this case, for a root comment, the parent is going to be this comments Livewire component, but for a reply, for these replies, the parent comment is going to be a comment itself. So in that case, the delete comment is not defined on the parent comment class. There is this Livewire component, which is the comment Livewire component. So yeah, Livewire is going to go ahead and look for the delete comment on this comment component itself, and it's not going to find that, and this would throw an error that the delete comment was not found on the parent component. So let's go ahead and look into the issue. Actually, the whole flow that I just explained to you is going to be witnessed here. If I click on this delete button, we will show this confirmation dialog, and if I go ahead and click on OK, then as you can see, unable to call component method, public method, delete comment, not found on component. So yeah, for a reply, the parent component is a comment component itself, and on that comment component, we do not have this delete comment method. So yeah, this is the issue, and now we need to go ahead and fix this. And yeah, I think I did mention that we should avoid the event listener approach, but we should not actually avoid it, but we should try to use the parent approach as much as possible. And in cases where you are looping over some data and you don't have the nesting like we currently have, because in this case, we are displaying a comment, and in that comment, again, we are displaying another type of comment, that is the reply. So we are basically nesting 2 levels deep. But if you have a nesting implemented only for 1 level, then in that case, the parent approach is going to work really well, and you don't have to implement the event listener approach. So in that case, you can avoid the event listener approach, but in this case, it's kind of unavoidable because the parent approach is not working here. One of the ways that we can implement this without the parent approach is to define the delete comment method on this comment component as well. And Yeah, that would work, but I'm not sure whether the Livewire component is going to be re-rendered accordingly. So yeah, I have not tried that approach, but I think, yeah, you can go ahead and try that, but that would again make our code repetitive. And yeah, that's another issue. So yeah, what we can do in these cases is to actually implement the event listener approach. And when we click on the delete button on this comment.blade, we can go ahead and emit an event, and we can listen for that event in our comments livewire component, which in turn can call this delete comment method, and we can listen for that event on multiple livewire components. So yeah, we can listen for that event on the comment livewire component as well, and on this component we could just refresh this component because the data is deleted, and we just need to go ahead and refresh the component. So yeah, let's go ahead and implement this. So when the user clicks on delete, what do you want to do? Okay, let's navigate to the comment.blade and let's remove this. And instead of the parent approach, we will go ahead and emit an event and then capture that event on multiple places. By multiple places, I mean on the comment and the comments livewire component. So yeah, let's go ahead and dispatch an event in here, and we can just use the dispatch magic helper provided by Livewire, and we want to dispatch a delete comment event, and along with this event we are going to pass in a parameter that is the actual comment that we want to delete, and we can do that by using a comma, and then in curly braces we can go ahead and name the parameter. In this case, the parameter name is going to be comment, and the value that we want to pass here is the comment model. Or instead of passing a comment model, we can go ahead and just pass the comment ID, which would prevent the payload of this from getting bigger, because instead of passing in a whole comment model, we can just go ahead and pass the comment ID, and we can query this ID on the backend. So yeah, this is gonna make our payload smaller, and yeah, we can just go ahead and query this ID in the backend. So when the user clicks on this delete button, we'll just go ahead and dispatch this delete comment event, and along with this event we are passing in this comment parameter, which is actually passing in the comment ID. And yeah, this approach is going to work in this case because I think I mentioned this in the first section of this course, that we should be really careful about passing in parameters from the front end to the back end, because these can be manipulated. And yeah, these can be manipulated in this case as well. They can go ahead and update this directive, or they can change the parameter. But as long as we are authorizing these parameters in the backend, it's not going to matter. Whatever they pass, is going to be authorized properly. So yeah, it's not going to matter, and only the authorized values are going to be executed in the backend. So yeah, we can now go ahead and pass this comment ID, and we are dispatching this delete comment event when the user clicks on this button. Let's now go ahead and listen for this event on our comments.php Livewire component. And with Livewire version 3, we have a new syntax to listen for events. And since we want to execute this delete comment method when that event is dispatched, so we can go ahead and use the on helper provided by Livewire, and on the delete comment event we want to execute this method. Let's import this on attribute, which is imported from the Livewire attributes on, and whenever the delete comment event is dispatched, then this code is gonna listen for that event, and this delete comment method will be executed. So yeah, for now the root comments should be deleted because this workflow looks good, and we will be fixing the issue about deleting the replies. So yeah, first let's go ahead and look into this flow, whether the root comments are being deleted or not. So when we click on this button, we dispatch this delete comment event, which is being listened by this comments.php livewire component. And when that event is being triggered, then this method will be called. So yeah, this is just a different approach from the previous one, where in the previous one we were using the parent.delete comment, but in this case we are just using the events and listeners approach to delete that comment. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try now. I'll just reload and try to add another comment in here and click on comment. When I click on delete and click on OK, okay, unable to resolve dependency. Okay, we did not actually queried the data. Okay, I think we did. We have the comment ID. We are grabbing the comment ID and then deleting the comment. So let's try to debug this. We receive this comment ID. Let's go ahead and dd this value. What do we get in here? So yeah, let's go ahead and look into it. I'll click on delete and click on OK. And again, this is throwing us an error that it is unable to resolve the dependency parameter 0. Comment ID in app livewire comments is required. Okay, I think I figured out the issue. So this is happening because if we go ahead and look into our comment.blade, we have this dispatch event being triggered with the name of delete comment, but the parameter name here is comment. But in our comments.php, we have this on delete comment, which in turn is going to execute this delete comment method, but the name of the parameter here is comment ID. So yeah, that's the reason we are facing this issue. And if we go ahead and name this to comment, and if we now go ahead and dd this, let's try to dd that, and let's give this a try now. I'll click on delete, click on OK. Then as you can see, we have the value as 10, and using the dependency injection, what we can do here is we can just go ahead and import the comment model. And okay, we have that from the app models comment. So Laravel is gonna grab that based on the ID, and we have the model now in here. So let's go ahead and again test this out, whether we get the specific model in this case or not. I'll just reload again and click on delete, click on OK. Then as you can see, we have the model now. So yeah, we can now go ahead and just delete that without querying it from the database, and Laravel is going to take care of that. So yeah, we can just go ahead and now execute this authorization check and then delete the comment. And since we are defining this delete comment on the parent component, that is the comments component, so Livewire is going to automatically refresh the change. And yeah, we don't have to go ahead and manually refresh our Livewire component. So yeah, let's go ahead and now reload again one last time and click on delete. And if I click on OK, then as you can see, without using the parent approach, the comment is now deleted, and it also refreshed automatically because we have defined this method in the parent component, and Livewire is going to detect that change and automatically refresh the Livewire component. So yeah, this looks good, but we still need to work on deleting the reply. And yeah, this works. Deleting the reply works for now, but the Livewire component is not going to refresh when we delete a certain reply. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. I'll click on this some reply updated reply. I'll try to delete this. And if I click on OK, then that was deleted from the database, but our Livewire component did not refresh. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a reload. And as you can see, we don't have that reply anymore. But yeah, we still need to fix this refreshing issue of this reply component. So yeah, we have deleted that, but the comment Livewire component, that is this comment Livewire component, is the parent of this reply. And since we are deleting the comment from the comments Livewire component, which is the parent of this comment. And yeah, this is actually 2 levels steep. So Livewire is not able to recognize whether there was a change, and it's not able to re-render. So yeah, in this case, we need to go ahead and manually instruct Livewire to refresh the component. And we can do that by registering a listener in this comment Livewire component. And here we can do that by defining a protected listeners property. Let's go ahead and do that. And what do we want to do in here? So we'll just listen for the delete comment event, and when that happens, we will just go ahead and refresh this Livewire component. So in this case, we are just manually instructing Livewire to refresh this comment component because it's not able to figure out whether any change was made to the underlying components, that is the nested components. So yeah, that's the reason we need to manually instruct this. And now whenever we dispatch this delete comment event, then this event is going to be grabbed by 2 of our components, that is this component and also this component. So yeah, it's going to be emitted up to all of the parent components, and they will go ahead and listen for that event and execute the instructed code. In this case, it's going to execute this delete comment method, and the comment Livewire component is going to refresh the Livewire component. So yeah, let's go ahead and now give this a try, and I'll try to add a new reply to this, a some comment example comment. And yeah, let's give this a reply of reply example. Click on reply. That reply is added. Let's click on delete and click on OK. Okay, we have 404 not found. What could be the issue now? Okay, let's try to debug this. On our comments.php, we have this on delete comment, and we have the comment. I think the error is happening because of this find code that is internally executed by Laravel to grab this comment. So I think that is the issue in here. And okay, let's go ahead and manually pass this, and I'll just go ahead and dd that comment in here, and let's try to look into this. So I'll just refresh, and okay, the reply was actually deleted. And okay, what could be the issue in here? Let's try to delete this. If I click on OK, then the value 11 is being dumped in here, which is the ID of this comment. Okay, let's try to look into the database. Let's open up our phpMyAdmin. I'll click on login. Let's look into our comments table. We have an ID of 11, which is a reply. And okay, let's try to grab this from the database. Let's assign this to a comment variable, and let's find that comment, and then we authorize this and try to delete it. Okay, let's go ahead and now give this a try. I'll try to reload, and let's click on delete. Okay, and we are getting this 404 not found error. Okay, let's try to reload again, and that reply doesn't exist because it was actually deleted from the database. Okay, I think I figured out this issue while I was trying to debug this, and when I wanted to dd this comment, then I realized that after we get this model, we are executing this authorize check to basically check for the authorization, whether this user has proper authorization rights to delete this comment. And then I realized that to properly implement this, we need to go ahead and use the authorize request trait. And when I try to look into this, then yeah, we have not implemented that. And here we did this in our comment Livewire component, but we forgot to do that in the parent comments Livewire component because we just copied that and did not used the trait. So yeah, that's the issue. And let's copy this and let's go ahead and use that. Let's import that from the correct namespace. And now let's go ahead and give this a try. So I'll just reload. I'll add a new reply to this. Another reply. Click on reply and let's add one more reply. And okay, I remembered one more thing, that is on our comments migration file, we defined this soft deletes column, but yeah, we have not implemented this yet. So while we delete the comments, we want to implement this soft delete feature. And to do that, we can navigate to our comment model and use the soft deletes traits in here, which is going to actually trash our comments instead of actually deleting them. So yeah, let's implement that. And now let's go ahead and give this a try. So I'll try to delete this another reply, click on delete, okay. And now our model is being done. So let's go ahead and remove that check from this comments Livewire component. Let's remove that and let's give this a try one more time. Click on delete, okay. And yeah, that reply is now deleted and our Livewire component also re-rendered. So yeah, this approach is working finally, and we have finally implemented deleting the comments and the replies, and we have implemented this in an efficient way. So yeah, this looks good. And in the next part, we will be looking at preventing the replies to the replies. Currently, we are checking that on the front end, but we have not implemented that on the back end. So yeah, we'll be implementing that properly in the next video. Okay, so let's go ahead and finalize the feature to prevent replies to these child comments, that is, prevent replies to the replies. And previously we added the check in the front end, which involved the logic about checking the existence of parent ID, and if the parent ID is set for a certain comment, then it means that the comment is a reply, and if the parent ID is not set, then it means that it is a root comment. And we will be doing something like that, but in a more organized way, by defining a dedicated method, and we could use that method on both of our front end and the back end to prevent the replies. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that method on our comment model. Let's define that in here. Let's name this as is parent, and instead of that we could also do something like is reply, and here we can return if the parent ID is set or not. And if it is set, then it means that it is a reply. So let's go ahead and just return this parent ID, and if it is set, then we can just go ahead and pass that. So based on this value, it's gonna return either true or false, and if it is set, then it means that it is a reply. So let's save that, and let's now navigate to our comment.php Livewire component. And while trying to store the reply, we need to go ahead and add that check, because this is where we are actually storing the reply into the database. So we need to check if the comment is a reply, and if it is, then we don't want to store that into the database. So let's go ahead and check that in here. So what we can do here is we can go ahead and access the comment that we are currently editing or replying to, and we will check if this comment is a reply, and if it is, then we can just go ahead and return it from here, and the further code would not be executed. That is, we are using the principle of early return, and further code won't be executed. And if it is not a reply, then this block of code will be executed. So let's save this, and let's go ahead and add that check in our front end as well. We will just use this is reply method to check whether a comment is a reply or a root comment. And before doing that, let's also go ahead and check whether our implementation is working fine or not. So on our comment.blade, let's go ahead and comment this out for now, and this reply will be rendered for all of our replies and comments. And let's go ahead and give this a try, whether this implementation is something that we want to achieve. So we want to check that, and let's go ahead and reload, and here we have this reply button. Let's go ahead and add a reply, some reply, click on reply. Then as you can see, nothing is happening here. And even if you try to reload, then okay, this is the previous one. I made a reply to this while testing out, but yeah, let's go ahead and delete that and add a reply to this reply. Let's go ahead and add that. Click on reply, nothing's happening. And if I go ahead and reload, then as you can see, reply was not added here. So this looks good. The backend check is working fine. Let's now go ahead and disable the reply for a reply comment. And we can do that by adding same check. If the comment is a reply, then in that case, we don't want to render this button. So we need to pass this negation operator as well. And yeah, make sure to spell this correctly. Let's save that and let's reload. Then as you can see, the reply button is rendered for the root comment, but for the actual reply, there's no reply button. So this looks good. And in the next part, we will be looking at implementing paginations. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's now go ahead and add the pagination feature on our comment component. And as you can see in here, as we make more comments, then this will get really big. And yeah, this is not a really good UX for the users. And yeah, behind the scenes, I have just went ahead and added some new comments so that we could see this pagination feature in action. So let's go ahead and implement this. Let's open up our comments Livewire component. And here we are rendering the comments, looping over the comments and then rendering them. So let's navigate to that comments.blade, and we just want to go ahead and display the links below this for each loop. But first, let's add in a div, and I'll just go ahead and add a class to this of my5 just to give it some space, that is vertical space. And let's go ahead and display the comments links. And yeah, let's save that. And this might throw an error because the collection links does not exist. But yeah, let's go ahead and implement the pagination on the comments Livewire component. Instead of get, we can just go ahead and add in paginate. And for now, I'll just go ahead and define the pagination number as 3 because we don't have much records. And if we pass a small number, then the records are going to be paginated. Let's save that. And okay, this is not looking so good because I think the black or dark theme is being rendered here. But to paginate this properly, for now, this is making a full page refresh. And to paginate this the Livewire way, we can go ahead and add in a trait to this. Let's go ahead and add that in here with pagination. Let's add that trait, and let's also go ahead and sort these imports, and let's reload. Okay, now this button looks good. And yeah, these are now gonna be paginated without any page refreshes. So yeah, this looks good. But there's one issue in here, that is, let's say if the user is on page 2 and now they try to make a comment. Let's say I'm gonna type in some comment, click on comment, and notice that this comment is not in here. So if I make that comment, and yeah, we are still on second page, and the comment that we just made is not rendered here. So yeah, what we want to do here is when the user makes that comment, we want to navigate the user to the comment page that is on the first page. We want to navigate the user to this page. And yeah, this is quite easy to implement. Let's go ahead and do that. And we can do that programmatically. When the user makes that comment, we will just navigate the user to the first page. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Once that user makes that comment, that is this one, when we store that comment, we can call this go to page, which is provided by Livewire, I think. Let's go ahead and look into it. Okay, this is the handles pagination trait, which is okay. I think this is a Laravel functionality. So we can pass in the first page, and when the user makes that comment, then we will be navigated to the first page. So let's save this and let's go ahead and give this a try. So we are on the second page, and if I go ahead and add in a new comment, click on comment, then as you can see, we are now navigated to the first page, and the user who just made that comment can see the comment. So yeah, this is a good UX, and I wanted to implement it this way. So yeah, this looks good. And in the next part, we'll be fixing a few issues that we have on our comment component. And the first one is about the blink or this blip issue that we have in here, which happens when Alpine loads, and Alpine takes some time to hide these DOM elements. As you can see, when we try to load this, then by default they are visible, and when Alpine loads, then only after that those DOM elements are hidden. So yeah, we'll be fixing that in the next video. If you have been following along, then you probably know what we'll be fixing in this video, and I'm talking about the Alpine issue that happens when we reload a page or when a page loads. And yeah, let's go ahead and look into the issue first, and then we will fix that later. So if I try to reload this page, and notice the blink or a blip in here when the component is rendered in the page and then hidden with Alpine.js. And yeah, this happens for a really short period of time. So it's hard to actually look into it, but yeah, if you try to go ahead and reload the page yourself in your own browser, then you might see it. So this is happening because when the page is loaded, then while Alpine.js is not actually rendered into the page, that is, the JavaScript code is not yet executed, and while the page has already loaded. So between that time, the DOM element of the reply that we are conditionally rendering here is displayed, and when Alpine.js is rendered and the code is executed, only then the reply component or the DOM element of the reply form is hidden from the page. So yeah, there's a separate section for this in Alpine.js as well, and we can go ahead and look into that, and then we will fix this issue. So let's open up our Alpine.js documentation, and if we go ahead and look into the different directives that are listed in here, one of them is this xcloak directive. And yeah, there's this theory given that when you are using Alpine.js for a part of your template, there's a blip where you might see your uninitialized template after the page load, but before Alpine loads. And here we can use this xcloak directive to address this scenario. And the theory behind this is we will be defining this xcloak directive in the hidden elements that are initially hidden, just like our reply form. So that should be hidden by default when the page loads. And what we will be doing is we will go ahead and pass this xcloak directive to those hidden elements, and on CSS we will target this xcloak directive through our CSS, and we'll pass in the display property to none. And yeah, this important attribute is also necessary. So now what's going to happen is whatever div or elements have this xcloak defined in them are going to be hidden using CSS. So yeah, let's go ahead and define this. I'll just go ahead and copy this first, and let's open up our app.css, and we can go ahead and pass that in here, or we can do that on the blade file as well. Let's go ahead and look into that. So we can even pass that in here. So okay, I think I should do that instead. Let's pass in the style directive, and let's pass that in here, and we can get rid of this. And now anything that we want to hide when the page loads, we'll pass this xcloak directive to those elements. So let's go ahead and now open the comment.blade, and okay, let's look into our update form. So this should be hidden. So yeah, we can pass that X cloak to this, and we also have the reply form somewhere. Let's go ahead and look into that. Okay, this is the reply form. Let's go ahead and pass that X cloak directive. And whenever this page is loaded, since we have this X cloak been passed to this, and using CSS, we will go ahead and hide this property by passing in display none property to these. So let's go ahead and now give this a try. I'll open up our project again. And if I reload, then as you can see, we don't have that blip bug anymore. So this looks good, and there's no any form or the hidden elements rendering and then hiding bug. So this looks good. And while we are here, I think this is a shorter video. I want to fix a few issues. That is, if we don't have any comments, then I want to go ahead and display the simple label that says no comments yet. And if there are comments, then the comments are going to be rendered. So let's go ahead and do that. And we have that on the comments.blade. So let's open that. And while we are looping through each of these, we can go ahead and add in a check in here. And now let's also remove this comment body. Let's add in a simple check. If the comments count is greater than 0, then we can go ahead and loop over these. And if it is equal to 0, then we can go ahead and define a simple paragraph that says no comments yet. And let's also go ahead and pass in a class of text gray 900. Okay, let's save this. And for this model, that is the episode model, we have these comments, but for our article model, we don't have any comments. So let's go ahead and open that up. Articles, article 1. Let's open that. And we don't have any comments. So yeah, this is showing as no comments yet. And we can go ahead and add in a new comment to this model. So this looks good. And there are a few things that I want to fix on this comment component, like showing the total number of comment in this bracket, and also the autofocus feature of the reply and edit forms. So in the next part, we will be working on the autofocus feature, and in that video itself, we'll go ahead and display the count of comments in this bracket. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Okay, let's go ahead and fix a few remaining issues that we have in our comment component. And yeah, one of them is to display the total count of the comments in this bracket. And the other one is whenever we try to reply or edit a comment, then in that case, we want to autofocus this text area. So yeah, these are the issues that I want to address in this video. And if I find or if I have any new feature ideas in the future, then I will go ahead and add them in this section. But for now, I think, yeah, this is going to be the last video of this section. And we will be fixing the autofocus issue. And yeah, this is a simple one. So yeah, the main thing that I want to fix here is this autofocus issue. And yeah, let's go ahead and look into the flow now. So we have this reply form that is rendered somewhere here, and by default this is hidden. And whenever we click on the edit button, then we want to autofocus this text area. So how do we do this? So let's talk about the logic first, and then we will go ahead and implement the actual functionality. So what's happening here is when we click on this reply button, then we have a property that is replying, which is a state, and it can be either true or false. And if it is set to true, then it means that the form is being rendered in the DOM, and if it is false, then it is hidden. So we need to go ahead and find a way to watch for this is replying property, and whenever that is set to true, then we want to go ahead and focus this text area. And yeah, there's a directive provided by Alpine.js called xEffect, which is kind of similar to the watchers in Vue.js. If you're familiar with working with Vue.js, then you might know that there's this concept called watchers, where we can watch for a property change and run a certain block of code. So yeah, xEffect is something like that, and we will be using that to watch for this isReplying property, and whenever that is set to true, then we will go ahead and focus this text area. Okay, so let's open up our documentation, and here we have this xEffect page opened up, and let's look into the syntax first and the theory of using this, and then we will actually implement this feature. So yeah, here we have this x data defined with a label of hello, and inside this xEffect directive, this is passing in console.log label. So whenever any of the dependencies of this xEffect change, then this block of code will be executed. So when the user clicks on this button, then as you can see, the label is being concatenated with this world string. So whenever we click on this button, then this label value changes, which in turn is going to execute this xEffect value, and the label is going to be logged into the console. So yeah, we will be making use of this xEffect to achieve the focus behavior that we want in our comment component. And one more thing that I want to talk about while we are here is the xref. Let's go ahead and look into that as well. We have this xref directive provided by Alpine.js, and using this, what we can do is we can go ahead and reference certain DOM elements, and they provide us a useful API to reference and access the DOM elements. So it is like a replacement for the get element by ID or query selector. If you have worked with vanilla JavaScript, then you know that we use these get element by ID and query selector or get element by class name to grab a certain DOM element, and we would target the elements by their IDs or class names. So yeah, refs are a simple utility classes, or they provide us an API to access our DOM elements. And let's say we have a span, and this is being referenced in here as text. And when we click on this button, then we can access this ref called text by using this refs.text. And when we click on this button, then the text is being removed from the DOM. So yeah, to access the refs, we can use this refs dot and then the name of the ref. And whenever we click on this button, then the text is removed from the DOM. So yeah, we will be using the combination of xref with the xEffect to reference the text area, and whenever the isReplying property is set to true, then we will go ahead and focus the text area. So yeah, let's go ahead and now look into the implementation. So yeah, let's first go ahead and reference our text area that we have in here, that is the reply form, and then we will go ahead and define that xEffect. So yeah, let's go ahead and reference this first, and I'm going to name this as reply form. This is going to be referenced as reply form, and let's go ahead and define that xEffect in here. So inside this, what we can do is if the isReplying property is set to true, only then we want to go ahead and focus the text area. So we can do that by checking for the truthiness of the isReplying property, and this block of code will only be executed if this isReplying property is set to true. So here what we can do is we can go ahead and grab the reply forms reference and then call the focus method on that. So yeah, this should work, but there are a few issues with this, and this is not going to work by default because we need to go ahead and make a few changes to this as well. But first, yeah, let's go ahead and look into this. Let's see whether this works or not, and then we will look into the theory about why this would not work, and then we will fix this. So yeah, let's go ahead and reload. And okay, not this page, but our project. And if I click on reply, then as you can see, the focus property is not applied on our text area. So yeah, what could be the issue in here? What's happening behind the scenes? So yeah, talking about the reason, what's actually happening in here is when Alpine.js is loaded into the DOM, then Alpine.js sees this block of code, that is this xeffect directive, and it goes ahead and execute this code. And initially our is replying is set to false, and since it is set to false, then this block of code won't execute. And yeah, that's the reason it's not working. And even if this block of code would execute, this ref.replyForm.focus would try to focus the text area, but it's not visible in our DOM yet. So yeah, that would not work in that case as well. So yeah, these are the reasons why this is not working. And yeah, to fix this, we will be making use of, again, a new helper of Alpine.js called nextTick. So yeah, let's go ahead and look into that, and then we will fix this. So let's open up the Alpine.js documentation again, and we have these magics provided by Alpine.js, and one of the magics is the nextTick magic. So yeah, let's look into the theory of this, and then we will fix that issue that we are currently facing. So yeah, nextTick is a magic property that allows you to only execute a given expression after Alpine has made its reactive DOM updates. So yeah, this is the part that is really important here. And in our case, what's actually happening is when Alpine.js is loaded, then it sees this block of code and tries to execute it as soon as this block of code is encountered, which is not efficient in this case because we don't have this reply form being rendered in the DOM. So yeah, this is not going to work. So what nextTick can do in this case is when Alpine.js is loaded and all of the Alpine.js stuff is being configured in the DOM, only after that, when we make any reactive changes in the UI, the nextTick part is going to be executed. So what we can do here is inside the nextTick method, we can go ahead and pass this block of code, and then since we have this xeffect registered already, then when we change the is replying property to true, then this block of code would execute. And since this method would be defined inside the nextTick, then Alpine.js is gonna execute that block of code after the Alpine stuff has been loaded into the DOM. So let's go ahead and now wrap this inside this nextTick helper, and we can pass this as the arrow function, and I'll just go ahead and pass that block of code. Let's save this, and now since we have registered this xeffect, and since we are now passing this refs.replyForm.focus inside this nextTick helper, so after the DOM has been loaded and Alpine.js stuff has been configured, and only after that this block of code will be executed in the DOM. So yeah, let's now go ahead and give this a try one last time. I'll try to reload, and if I click on reply, then as you can see, the text area is now focused. So yeah, this looks good. And I also want to achieve the same functionality for the edit area as well, because whenever the user clicks on the edit button, then we want to automatically focus on the text area that gets rendered in here so that they can easily go ahead and type in without leaving their keyboard, and they don't have to again go ahead and focus this text area. So yeah, this is a good UX, and we can do that again by chaining multiple methods in here. We can't actually define multiple xeffects in here, but we can define multiple internal methods inside this xeffect directive, and we can do that by separating them with a semicolon, because that's how JavaScript works. And yeah, ending anything with a semicolon means that it is a statement. So we can again go ahead and append a new method in here, and if the is editing is set to true, then inside this nextTick method we will go ahead and pass in the reference to the update form, which we have not defined yet. So yeah, let's go ahead and define that. In here we have this update form. Let's go ahead and define that xref, and let's name it update form. And now this should be registered, and whenever we change or update the value of the isEditing property to true, then the text area is going to be focused. So yeah, let's go ahead and give this a try. I'll click on edit. Then as you can see, the text area is now focused. So yeah, this looks good. And I think we are almost done for this section. We have implemented a lot of stuff in this section. And okay, one last thing that I want to do here is display the total count of the comments. So yeah, that's also really simple. Let's navigate to our comments.blade and let's try to display the count of the comments. And yeah, this has an issue again, and I'll talk about the issue and then we will fix this. Let's save this, and as per our assumption, this should now go ahead and display the total number of comments count. But what's actually happening? So yeah, this is rendering a number of 3, but actually we have 7 records. So what's actually happening in here? So if we try to look into our comments Livewire component, then we have this pagination going on in here. So the count actually is returning this pagination number. But what we can do here is, instead of calling the count, and since we are paginating the records, we can go ahead and use the total method instead of count, which is actually provided by the pagination helper. So let's go ahead and pass that total. And now if we reload, then as you can see, the actual number is being displayed here. So yeah, this looks good. And yeah, I think we are almost done for this section. We implemented a lot of stuff in this section itself. We built out a comment component from scratch. And yeah, this has been an interesting section. And I hope that you learn a lot of stuff along the way related to Livewire and Alpine.js. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next section.